We are inspired by the sea. Our minds dive into the depths of its blue. Our bodies dance with its waves. The sea gives and gives, but the sea can also take away. Without our ocean, who are we? If we don't protect the ocean, we will be nobody. Come, brother, come, sister. We are called to share a love for the sea, for everything it gives, and we must make it known. We must show the world that we love our island home. Together, we are more than surfers. We are more than villagers and voyagers. We are more than islanders and escapists. We are one family, protecting our one and only future. Kuda surf, living the dream.
I'm pretty sure we are now live right here from Siargao in the Philippines, the WSL 3000 event. Right now we are live on day 2. What I'd like to do to just kick off the day is we've got a pretty awesome little highlights package from yesterday. It goes for just over a minute, so for all the crew that have tuned in early, you're about to be treated by yesterday's highlights. Check this out. Well, there you go, everybody. As you can see, yesterday was pretty spectacular, and we have started straight away with another tube ride. So right on cue, our surfer in red would be Ketut Agus from Bali. He is the winner up there in Naas a couple of weeks back. This fellow, it's hard to see colours. I think that's white, so it would be from the USA, Miles Lane Toner. Just like to welcome Justin Majex into the booth. Morning, Juddo.
Yeah, Mark, how are you, mate?
Unreal. I mean, how good did that highlights package look?
Oh, sensational. This is definitely a world-class location, and yeah, super excited to be here. And looks like a little bit more life in the ocean this time.
Well,
compared to yesterday.
I just had a competitor whip past, and he said overall it feels a little bit smaller than yesterday.
Okay.
But he said it's still really good. I said, do you get a surf today? He's gone, yes, I'm in heat 2 of round 2, and I hope we get that far because it's really good.
Nice.
So that's coming from a guy that's just come fresh out of the water. I think it might have been Lewis Perero. I don't know, probably got that wrong. But anyway, it's all looking good for day 2, mate. I'm not sure how far we're going to get through today's program, but let's just play on and see how it turns out. You can see who's in heat 1. As you can see, Katut's Tube Rider 483. And it is finals day, mate.
Oof.
I'm a bit nervous. Footy day.
Oh, goodness. I'll be dropping the headset come 12 o'clock regardless of how many heats are still running, or we got to go watch those mighty West Coast Eagles do it in the AFL Grand Final over at the MCG. But
it's a big deal in Australia, everybody, the Australian Football League. So if we do carry on a bit about it sometimes today, apologies are coming early because we probably will. And it's a big deal for us because our mighty West Coast Eagles are in that final. And it's about a lunchtime sort of thing over there. It's a massive day. It's like Australia Day in Australia today. It's a big one. So just apologising in advance. But right now, Katut Argus, the youngster, he's only 17, opened with a nice tube, as you saw. First wave of the morning, a 4.83.
Yeah, joining him out in the water, Darcy Crump in the blue from New South Wales. Out there in the white is the American, remind me of his name, sorry, Mark.
Sorry, we've got Miles Lane Toner.
Yep, and Eper Figueron out there in the green, representing the local beaches here at Cloud 9.
Yep.
Some of those Philippine surfers really impressed yesterday. Some great local talent around these parts.
Yep, and we've still got a couple more to feature this morning. In the next heat, we have Benjoma Cannon. He'll be surfing in the green up against the Kiwi in Tom Dixon Smith, the Spanish surfer in Ignacio. I'm struggling with his last name, and the Australian also there in Thomas Servey. So a fully international heat coming up next in Heat 14. Heat 15, Oni Anwar is the headline act right there, and Heat 16, the number 1 seed is Dylan Moffat from Australia. So the waves are looking good enough to maybe keep rolling into round 2 as well, I think, Justin.
Yeah, well, here we go. Just a little bit of morning glare to deal with. So the judges will be squinting. They'll have a spotter up there and just ensuring that all the right colours are called. And this looks like blue. The Australian Darcy Crump up on the backhand. Just gets swatted there. Darcy was maybe a little bit too wide on that shoulder, and you really want to be backdooring these sections as Katut goes here, driving.
Oh, yes.
Well done. He likes it.
Well, having seen what he can do at Nias, mate, that did not surprise me that he made that barrel because he's a pretty hyperactive young kid, 17 years of age, catches a lot of waves. It's generally all over anything he catches, and he can weave and thread a tube, and I think we're going to see a pretty big number thrown at that wave.
As we see White up and riding now, so backdoors that section and just gets clamped. But the Indonesians, they're amazing tube riders, aren't they?
Well, here's the action replay, everybody. Let's see. Look how deep he is right there. That is ridiculous. And weaving, and then somehow found the doggy door out. He's pretty pumped. And that was a pretty special ride. So I'm reckon they're probably going to go close to excellent with something like that, Justin. Let's just see. It's early days. They're trying to set a scale for the morning, so it might take a little while for that score to drop. But for me, that was probably one of the best tubes we've seen ridden in competition. Yeah,
that was really nicely done. And, I don't know too much about Katut, but, I know that he's an excellent barrel rider. 2 really good tubes to open up. Day number 2 here at Cloud 9. We're into the 13th heat of the round of 192, and the biggest score of the whole event's just been dropped, an 8.33 for Red. So all your buddies back there in Indonesia, if they're watching, they'll be hooting and hollering.
Well, he's from the Padmar area, mate, and all the boys there. I imagine Johnny Uluwatu was probably checked in. Johnny, woohoo! Check it out. That was unreal. You boys just absolutely set a mean pace. The single best highest wave over the last 13 heats. And he set a mean standard for today. So the judges sent that clear message yesterday, mate, that if you get barreled and you get well barreled, well, that's how you get the big scores. We saw guys stringing together 4 or 5 turns yesterday for 4 or 5 points. It's all about the tube ride.
Yeah, you're definitely right, and I like to see that score, an 8.33, busting up into the excellent range, and you know, the judges are really critical. They'll break down every part of that ride, and yeah, what he did inside that tube to you know, sort of take the high line and weave through the little doggy door was excellent surfing in anyone's language. So young Indonesian moves into first position. Darcy Crump out there in the blue. He's got first priority and needs a pretty minor score to move up into second at this stage. So we'll keep you guys posted as things eventuate in this heat. But there's 13.5 minutes on the clock. And so far so good. First heat, round 1, heat 13 in the water right now.
It's been lucky for Ketut Agus at this stage. 13 minutes on the clock, heat 13. He's boosted a 13.16 two-wave total. It's all about the 13s, and Agus has dead set a mean pace here this morning. So I imagine all the competitors would be watching this heat closely, mate, to just figure out, you know, how many good waves are coming through, get a handle on the scores and all that sort of stuff. And I imagine everybody just saw that and went, what?
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah, a lot of free surfing going on. Gets light around about 5 o'clock here, and there was a few bodies in the water, even though the tide was pretty low earlier. Definitely a lot of crew getting out there and doing their practice, their warm-ups, and you would imagine the crew in the next couple of heats.
Oh, yeah. He wanted... ask him. Okay, so we are all set for a good ripping morning here. Tide is pushing in. It did wonders for the wave yesterday. You know, the camera angles from the big old tower, 3-story tower out there on the reef look awesome. And I'm pretty confident that we're going to get through a few heats here today. We did 12 yesterday and squeezed it in on a nice rising tide and then got a bit of the dropping tide, and it all went pretty well.
Yeah, it did.
So I'm pretty confident that we could probably go somewhere close with that today. We have 67 heats total for the whole event, 12 off yesterday. Get a few done today. I'm pretty certain Jerry, our local on the spot with the forecast, probably nominated Sunday tomorrow as a potential lay day. All right, we're just sort of gazing into the crystal ball and
throwing it out there,
having a bit of a look ahead. But that was what he was suggesting, and then he said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday could not have a better forecast for this event. So we'll get through a few today and probably might even go on hold.
Yeah, super excited to see you know, what this little typhoon out to the northeast of us brings. And yeah, we know that Cloud 9, a world-class location, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it shine.
Yeah. Maybe put it in there because it's going to take up an extra foot of our space.
Well, because one thing will be in the corner, one thing will be there, it won't take up that much space. I think we put it in there once we can see it.
All right.
We just move this forward just a fraction.
Yeah, right.
So right now, a 2.5 for Green has moved him up the leaderboard ever so slightly.
Boys to come and help with that, so when we move their gear, we don't rock anything and mess anything up.
10.5 minutes on the clock. It's been a little bit of a lull since we saw the 8.33 from Ketut Agus, but I'm sure that the ocean is starting to come alive as we see White up and riding here.
So Miles again, second wave, a little bit of a barrel. Seems to be a formula there, tube to hack. Unfortunately, he didn't stick the hack, but what do we got now? This could be blue, it is. So dropping it on his backhand. Not quite getting barreled there. Either way, Crumpy is off and running with his better score. Same with Miles. There's not much in it for second, so he goes figure on having a bit of a look at that wave. I'm not sure whether he'll lose priority, probably not. So at this stage, it's all looking pretty good. So what I think we'll do, like, look at that wave that they're letting go. I mean, if they're letting stuff like that go, Juddo, I would have been all over that. I'll take that. Thanks, boys.
Well, growing up on the metropolitan beaches of Perth, mate.
That looked pretty good. That was the wave of the day.
Us trig guys, we scrap for anything. So here's the replay of the American surfer's last attempt. Got a nice little sort of chandelier section there, but just couldn't wrap the turn on that little bowly end section. And Darcy Crump here on the replay. Just a little bit too far out in front of that thing. What I've realised is you really got to be deep to get that first tube section, and it looks
Some
like
live action there. I think it might have been
I think that
figure
was
on.
green, yeah.
Figure-ons, yeah. So everybody now starting to mount a challenge for that second spot. Argus is wisely being most patient. He doesn't really have to do much more apart from maybe just try and burn off his 4.3. The 8.33 is looking pretty awesome. So should he win the heat, I'd like to have a chat with him. He's full of energy, mate. You have a chat with him, you feel really good after it. It's just like you feel like you've done something epic yourself.
The Energizer Bunny.
He is. He's a really good fella. So 8.5 minutes, we'll know that result. At this stage, though, it's looking like a no-brainer. He has everyone comboed. Figuron has backed up with a 2.5, I think, or a 2.87. That's his two waves either way. 3.07 is all that's needed for Miles, and not much more for Crumpy, a 3.77.
Well, it's sort of been the story of the first 12 heats of this event. One clear standout who's really held on to first place, and it's been, I guess, a little bit of a struggle for the second place. That's where the battles have been on.
You're right. So White just taken off pretty deep. Someone, I think it was our goofy footer, who I'm not sure who it was going left. It's a bit hard to see in this glare, but there were some really good lefts ridden yesterday. There was a lot of really high scores that were thrown for some really solid barrel work yesterday on the left-hander. The swell direction being a little bit too north to favour the rights. Pretty much did the lefts a whole lot of good, and we saw a lot of, completed tube rides on the left. So whoever that was, not bad thinking. The wave didn't quite come to fruition, but either way, it is a bit of a peak out there, and it looks pretty good when it's barrelling both ways.
Yeah, I think that was Darcy Crump. He's a goofy footer, so I was definitely having a look at the lefts, and you can see him paddling back into the lineup now. If he gains third priority, I reckon that was Crumpy looking at the left. 7.5, well, just under 7.5 minutes remaining in this one. It is... it's an arm wrestle for second, as I just said previously. Katut way out in the lead with that individual highest score of the event, an 8.33. I'm sure the boys will bring up a little bit of a replay if they get an opportunity through a bit of a lull, but you can see Katut's just patiently waiting out there. He's looking to improve on a 4.83, but no real need to rush himself. He's holding down first spot with guys scrapping around for minor scores beneath him, so...
Well, this is most unusual to see Katut actually sit up and take a breather.
Oh.
Being from Padmar and the way those boys froth out, mate, he's normally would have had his 10 wave count up by now, had this been a free surf, and he would have probably got 7 of those waves off your inside. And he knows that, and I'll tell him every time because the boys, it's a pretty competitive scene down there at Padmar, and for those boys that are watching, well, it's Mark Clift here this morning. You know me as Bunga. This is Justin Majex. He's sitting next to me. We love to have a bit of fun, guys, so good on you to all the Padmar boys down there that might be locked on. Johnny Uluwatu, we miss you, mate. Be good to have you here, but maybe next year. And we do have another couple of Indos coming up featuring a little later on, mate, in Heat 15. 2 of them. We have Oni Anwar and Putra Hermawan. Putra has won this event the first year I came, about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so for the Indonesians out there listening in, tuning in this morning, well, stick around in about... 35, no, about just over 30 minutes time, that heat will start. Lakey Peak's favourite son and Lembongan's probably best, highest ranked surfer for many years in that same heat, coming up in heat 15.
And another Indonesian I saw in the draw, Rio Wada.
Rio will be seated, no doubt, a long way forward. He is there, so he's in round 3, heat 13 of round 3. So that probably won't happen till at least Monday, potentially Tuesday. Yeah, it's good to see those boys make their way up here because it is an awesome wave. They're all natural footers. They all surf really good, and I think they're all a pretty serious threat out here. 5 minutes remaining, and as confirmed, Katut is not being bothered for that first position, but it is an absolute shootout here. We don't have much separating the boys, less than 2 points across the board there for our second spot.
Yep, it is. It's tight, but Katut can sit out the front and... hold on to that priority. The boys are going to have to scrap for minor scores beneath him. Darcy Crump is in fourth position. He needs just a 3.77 to move up into a qualifying position. And our mate Miles Lane Turner Toner, sorry, in third spot. In the white, needs just a 3.07 to overtake the local in the green, who currently has a 2.87 and a 2.5. So it's been a bit of a one-horse race, this 13th heat of round one, round of 128.
Could you just tell Bones every winner to here, particularly the first guy, because he's just had an amazing wave and he's an Indo guy, I know him pretty well, so make sure he get here.
All right, if you get a chance, just drag that over.
All right, no worries.
Thanks. I'll be back as soon as I can. Just a few flies at the moment.
All right, some nice waves unloading out the back. No one taking the opportunity, so the boys are still positioning themselves. They want to get barreled straight off the takeoff, so if it don't look any good down the line, and it's just looking like a bit flat and turn sort of wave, unless you need a 2 to get through, probably
Don't
not
bother.
worth taking, yeah.
No. I think the judges sent a really clear message yesterday, and in a few of those lully heats, guys did take to turns, but the judges didn't throw their scale like way out the window. They kept it consistent throughout the day, and really stoked to see an 8.33, our first excellent score of the event, lock in for Kutut Agus. And be really excited to have a chat with him after this heat and get his breakdown on the conditions out there and see how it's all looking. But beautiful glassy conditions, a few little ribs and lumps on the face as the tide starts to push in on the reef here at Cloud 9. Mark, yesterday a pretty massive opening ceremony to kick this thing off.
Oh my God, it certainly was. A 2-houry. It definitely stretched my little skinny legs. Standing up the whole time, but it was really cool, and it's a big deal for them. I mean, the First Lady was here, the President of the Philippines' other half was here on behalf of the President, and first time she's ever come here, and the locals turned out in droves, mate.
Oh my gosh.
The amount of speeches and the length of the speeches was pretty much, gold medal stuff. And even the dancing part of the ceremony was pretty colourful. The kids were having a blast. The locals enjoyed it, and look, it's all about them on that day. So my skinny little legs just had to deal with it and shut up and don't complain, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, they don't have that little courtesy bell to ring and say, you've got 20 seconds left in your speech.
You've got 20 minutes left in your speech, so wind it up.
But no, obviously the government support for this event is massive, and big shout out to the Department of Tourism, who really hold this Siargao area in high regard.
All right, here we go, mate. Let's have a little look back into this heat. Second spot still up for grabs. He comes out of this, he gets second. I think that was Figueron who's holding on to second, narrowly. So first priority still sits with Kutut. It's probably more about second priority now, because Miles Lane Toner needs only a 3.07. That was Figueron rolling the dice and didn't improve his 2-wave total, so he's sitting on only a 5.37 total. With 1 minute to go, would be feeling pretty nervous about this second spot.
Yeah.
So Miles now is well positioned. In 1 minute, he'll just need a wave to come through. I'm not sure whether Kutut will give it to him, being from Padma, but he's probably got no interest in second position anyway, so maybe he will.
Well, Darcy Crump, he needs just a 2.27 as well, and maybe the goofy footer will stick to a left. Doesn't need much at all, so with close to 30 seconds remaining, this is going to be really interesting to see how this next 30 seconds plays out. Surfer in the red guaranteed to make his way on through, but he's paddling in, he's feeling confident. I don't think there's any more waves approaching the lineup, and with 15 seconds on the clock, well, White's maybe going to just scratch for this last little opportunity. So this could come down to the wire with 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, gee, that was borderline. But either way, it was a dud wave for Miles, so he never got his opportunity. The result will rest with red first, green second. We'll just throw to a quick advertisement, everybody. We'll be back with Heat 2, well, basically Heat 14 very shortly. Stick around.
We are inspired by the sea. Our minds dive into the depths of its blue. Our bodies dance with its waves. The sea gives and gives, but the sea can also take away. Without our ocean, who are we? If we don't protect the ocean, we will be nobody. Come, brother, come, sister. We are called to share a love for the sea, for everything it gives, and we must make it known. We must show the world that we love our island home. Together, we are more than surfers. We are more than villagers and voyagers. We are more than islanders and escapists. We are one family, protecting our one and only future. Kudu surf, living the dream.
We're back. Here we are. Heat 14 is off and running. It's looking like Thomas Servey has busted out with the first wave of this heat at 2:17. You can see who he's up against. Portuguese surfer there, I'm pretty sure. No, a Spanish surfer in Ignacio. New Zealand surfer in Tom Dixon Smith, and another Philippine surfer, Benjamar Cannon. So that was an outstanding performance in that last heat. If anybody missed it, look, that tube ride, the best single wave score on 8.33 off Katut Gus. It was an amazing barrel. Here it is again, so thanks there, Sammy. Look how deep he was right there. He gives it a pump and a thread and then sees a little doggy door and just aimed for it and somehow squeaked out of the first wave to bust into the excellent range over 14 heats.
Yeah, very nimble and quick response there in the tube to not only drive through multiple sections but find that little doggy door and get an exit. So deserving of the 8.33, and I'm sure we'll get Katut Agus up here very shortly for a chat with you, Mark.
Look, he had the briefest of moments to get out of that tube, and he was in the right spot to take that split-second opportunity to get out of the barrel. Otherwise, it would have been a 2.
Yep.
And, so a real technically well-ridden barrel from Katut. So he'll be stoked. We'll have a chat with him, hopefully, about that ride. But now it's all about Heat 14. The boys are just positioning themselves. These 25-minute heats, plenty of opportunity. Up next is Oni Anwar, Komang Hermawan, Sean Burns. And I'm not sure whether we're going to have a fourth surfer in that heat. Maybe we will. Might end up being a local, but at this stage we've got a 0 right there, so it could end up being our first three-man heat of the draw. I'm not really sure. Let's see how that goes. Heat 16, by the way, is going to be led out by Dylan Moffat, Ruben Vittoria, Kezu Harrison, and Troy Van Villet coming up, a couple of heats away.
Yeah, well, that early morning sun. We had a little bit more cloud cover yesterday, and it's red hot. Bit of sweat on the brow. I'm sure the judges are copping a little bit of that out on the tower as well. But let's have a look at this. A little set approaching the lineup, and
Any on the left? No.
Still
Plenty of size in that. You can check it out either end. Still had something going on, but the boys right in the middle of the peak, which is where you want to sit. Wave just a little too wide either side, so waiting for something a little more user-friendly.
But of course, a whole bunch of sponsors we need to do a shout out to. Of course, Kudu Surf, local surf brand here, all about sustainable and environmentally friendly products. As we see our Spanish surfer in the blue taking a pretty nice drop there. Tags that section, goes over the handlebars. But again, Cloud 9. If you're not getting tube, don't expect big numbers. And for such a world-class location, if you can slip behind the liquid curtain. Here's the replay. You can see just a little bit late on the takeoff. Might not have actually tubed that well anyway, but getting a bit of wax between the toes. Our Spanish surfer there.
Yeah, just sort of releasing some nerves as well. Goes to the lead with that effort, so it was worth doing, a 2.33. He'll be hoping to get rid of that score out of his top two rides by the end of the heat. But, you know, something at the start of a heat's always a good little nerve settler made, and better to have something than nothing. And although it's not a big score, I'm sure just inside you it makes you settle a little, and at least you're off and running.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think we saw a few classic examples of guys who just sat around waiting for that dreamboat wave to come through and left their run a little bit too late, and it cost them dearly.
Yep.
So I'm all about the early starts, building momentum, and if you can, you know, build that house, as we like to say. A bit of a cliche saying, but you got to start with a foundation. You got to put the walls up, and you got to put the roof on, and you can get the Sparky in to wire it all up once you're done. But 19 and a half minutes on the clock, and right now it is the Spanish surfer leading. Old mate Australian Thomas Servey in second with a 2.17, leaving green and white chasing minor scores to move up the leaderboard.
All right, well, as you were saying, mate, it's pretty damn hot here early in the piece. Oh, I can see Couture. I just want to get his attention.
Trying to hollow down our previous heat winner. This is the Siargao Cloud 9 Surfing Cup, and all our government officials were very happy to tell us that this was the 24th year that a surfing competition has happened, and I'm going to slide out and let you have a little bit of banter with you, mate, from the Pad Ma Way.
Yeah, let's bring him into the house and see what he's got to say about his last heat. It was pretty sick. So as we get the headphones on, here he is, the young little fella.
Yay! How are you, Bunga?
Yeah, I'd firstly like to say good morning. Salamat pagi.
Selamat pagi, Bunga.
And what a great heat it was for you, everybody. Ketut Argus just putting together an 8.33.
Yay.
The single best wave ridden in the heat. That was an amazing tube. You looked pretty pumped when you made it out of that thing.
Yeah.
Maybe what we can do, maybe while he's sitting here, Sammy, and there's a break in the action, if we could bring it up again, I'll show you exactly how it looked from the judges' perspective. It was a really deep barrel, as you know, and you certainly looked really pumped. It was that you had the briefest of moments to squeak out of that thing, and you did. So if we can find it and bring it back up again, we'll show you what the wave of the event looks like so far, everybody, in 8.33. I'm sure Sammy's just chipping through the footage, getting to that, so hopefully we'll bring it to you. But anyway, a good decision. Here it is. So watch this. This is you, buddy. You watch how deep you get here. That is ridiculous. Yes, yes.
Whoa!
There you go. There's
That's
the little...
pretty...
Hey? You happy with that?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I think I'm going to be like stuck on the barrel because like the waves like really fast, like getting small, the barrel, like, okay, just comes out. Yeah, pretty excited.
Now I saw you having a little free surf the other day up at halfway because you're pretty pumped on this event. You were grovelling hard and you were dead set ripping. So this event obviously means a lot to you, and you'd be stoked to get a really good result here.
Oh yeah, hope we get a good result. Yeah, here, and try to win this comp. Yeah.
First time here. What are your thoughts so far, mate?
Yeah. All the boys here, like all the competitor, like all the surfer, like ripping. I saw like free surfing, like oh wow, it's maybe dangerous, yeah.
So speaking about the free surfing, it looks pretty hard to get a wave out there during the free surfs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty hard, like just like snaking, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just take the small one, like, okay, no one go for the small, okay, just go. Oh.
Have you been left at all since you've been?
Yeah, I've been, and I just broke my nose board, and I got rash here from the reef, like on the left.
Little tattoo.
Yeah, tattoo.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
There's some lefts going on again today.
It's pretty dangerous, the left, right?
Well, it gets, as shallow as the right gets. I think the left gets shallower quicker.
Yep.
So if you make an error on the left, you probably pay a heavier price than going right. So
Yeah.
that's my take on this wave. So far so good. What day did you get here?
2 days ago in the afternoon with Putra.
So would that be Wednesday, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Oh,
there's a nice
is
little
it
barrel.
local?
Okay, so this is the local fella. And you
Whoa.
see Benjamin Cannon from the
Whoa,
Philippines.
yeah. Yeah, grab. Boom. Yo.
His caddy out there looks pretty pumped. He's going, now get back out there and do it again.
Go.
All
All
right.
the local, like, and like the grum here at Ripping, I saw, like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You wait till you see these four
Yeah.
guys that have been seeded through to round 3. We've got Piso, who came second in the Nationals. This John Mark Tokong. Marimar
yeah.
is just
crazy,
something pretty special. Filmar is on fire as well. Filmar Alapeo.
Yeah.
And also Neil Sanchez is in the draw there all the way through to round 3. So you've got a bit of catching up to do to get to that spot. But there is some seriously good local surfers here, mate. It's a pretty amazing wave, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty perfect waves, barrel, you know, like really good. Oh, I love this place, you know, like pretty excited to come here. Yeah, this is my first time come to Siargao and Cloud9. It's really good.
And you'd be feeling right at home because the water's steaming hot.
Yeah.
Everything's pretty cheap. It's a beautiful scene. So it's almost like you're at Padmar, but with a big giant A-frame peak in front of you.
Johnny.
Are you getting another shout out there?
Yeah.
Who else would you like to give a shout out? Come on, a lot of the Padmar boys would probably be watching right now.
Oh, maybe all the boys watching this comment, yeah? Yeah, probably say hello, good morning. The wave is pumping, go surf.
Yeah, he goes blue. So this is Ignacio again.
Oh,
His best score is only a 2.33. This is looking a little better, so I think he's just put his best number together. It's kind of a low-scoring heat to this point. A 3.67 thrown down as the best single wave for our surfer in green, the local, Benjamin, so he's holding it down. So what do you do today, mate? You've had an early heat, you've got through, you potentially probably won't surf again today, so what do you do?
maybe probably if my hit like go surf again, okay, go surf and waiting here, like maybe going back to a hotel, get maybe breakfast and back here again and watch the waves, yeah.
All right, well, it's a big day for myself today because in Australia, mate, football is a big deal. My team is playing in a big grand final in about 4 hours, 5 hours.
Oh, wow.
So could you just say, go the mighty West Coast Eagles, please?
Go
The mighty
the Mikey
West Coast
West Coast
Eagles.
Evil.
It's evil, it's all good. Go the mighty West Coast Eagles is what that translates to, folks. They're on a little bit later on, and as you can see, Katut doesn't know much about AFL,
Yeah, not really.
but it's all right. We'll let that slide through the keeper. It's a specialty thing, mate. Only Aussies really do it. So
Oh,
look at that, Thomas Servia, 6.33. I didn't see it, so maybe he went left. Maybe we were just having too much of a chin wag here and missed it. But either way, he's gone 2 points close to what you did, so it still must have been a pretty good wave.
it's pretty hard to get a point, yeah.
Well, you've got to take it on, you know. It's
Oh.
a strong wave. There goes Blue just off. He's in the tube. He needs to.
Right, paddling.
Oh, he's a goofy footer, so he probably did all the damage earlier. On a left, he ducks his head again, gets spat out of a tube. So Thomas doing a great job.
Pretty
Big
good
tall
one.
fella. Oh, look at this one.
local.
Another left.
Oh, no.
How much does that hurt when you fall off right there? Did you see that takeoff?
Yeah,
Get belted?
maybe like, oh, maybe the board is gonna be broken, yeah.
Maybe
Sometime, yeah.
like laundry?
Yeah, big laundry.
Surfer in
Oh.
white. Oh, it's all going on. The tubes. It is a pretty sick exchange. It's just happened, folks. It's all happened on the left side of the peak. There's been 3 barrels. I'm hoping we can see some replays of all that because all those tubes were pretty well threaded.
Pretty good.
They were all quite
Yeah,
deep.
pretty perfect. Comes
Yeah.
out, yeah.
Now, have you spoken much with Poocher this morning? He's up in the next heat.
Yeah, next hit, so maybe before 5 minutes.
He goes
Hey,
red hags down. Let's just
yeah.
have a look at these replays, mate. So that was
Oh,
red. So that was
that's
Thomas
pretty
Servey,
good.
all right? That's our
Yeah.
heat leader. That'll be his backup sort of wave. That was really good. Here goes our man in white. So another goofy footer dropping into this thing.
Oh, that's pretty deep one.
So that was Tom Dixon Smith, the Kiwi surfer. And I'm pretty sure there was another tube ride went down as well. So a great exchange. And once all those numbers drop, we will have an outcome. Oh, and that was green as well, getting belted. So there was 3 waves ridden there. One was a disaster and 2 were really good barrels. So did you have a chat with Putra after your heat? Did he ask you how it was out there or anything?
Yeah, I asked him like, oh, the waves is a little bit like tricky for the ride. Maybe you need to fast in the barrel. Yeah,
Okay.
and comes out faster.
So did
Yeah.
you know that Putra won here about 5 years ago?
No, I
There
don't.
you go. Well, that's
No.
news for you, isn't it?
Is it?
I was here. It was
No
the first time I
way.
came. Putra won. He won about $5,000 for his effort. He was that stoked. He had a fistful of dollars.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was a really strong field. There was a lot of Indonesians that came that year, a lot of Balinese, and he came out on top. So he knows how to surf this wave.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why.
And Oni Anwar, he's done a last-minute dash to get here and get into this event. He's from Lakey Peak. Have you seen Oni this morning and had a chat with him?
No, I'm not see only like this morning. But yesterday, yeah, surf with him and share the waves there.
All right, cool. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, I imagine it's a long way from Bali. You're stoked to be here for your first time. It was a great first up
yeah.
performance. So there's probably some people that you'd like to thank. We'll just have a look at this set. Who would you like to thank for getting you here?
Oh, thank you for my sponsor, Rip Curl. Already like bring me to come here and just so excited to come. And all my sponsor on the juice and Sun Zepper, Almeric. Yeah, that's the best sponsor ever I see, like have, you know.
Well, you got to have
Yeah.
good boards. It's a
Yeah.
big part of the deal, isn't it? So
Yeah, Almeric, like that was the board I surf with. That one, it's pretty good.
Okay,
Thank
so,
you.
yeah, well done, mate. I like
Yeah.
that. So check out Tom Dixon's score, a 6.9, the guy in white for that
Oh,
goofy
wow.
foot barrel. That was pretty well done. Really well done. So he moved into second. The local fella drops into third. And the Spanish surfer is now in fourth, needing a mid-range 5 to get out of trouble in this heat. So what I think we'll do, Katut, it's been great having a chat, mate. I love your enthusiasm. I
Yep.
really love the way
Thank
you
you.
surf.
Yeah.
How good was it to see yourself in that tube?
Yeah, it was so good. so
well-
excited.
Well, thanks for coming and
Yeah,
having a chat,
thank you.
Katut, and all the
Yeah.
best for round 2 and beyond, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, thank you. Good on you, mate. As he steps out of the booth, we'll get Justin back. That was unreal. Always full of beans and pretty pumped to see his own ride. So awesome. Here we go now. Back end of the last quarter of heat number 14. The Australian Thomas Survey. There's been some good barrels ridden in this heat as we see Justin Majex just come back into the hot seat. Have you been watching this, mate?
Oh, a couple of little doozy lefts going on, and
Yeah. Ignacio getting barreled on the right and getting slapped, I think. Yep, he does.
yeah, it's a little bit glary. So from our position, it's really sort of quite hard to see what's going on out in the lineup. We rely on the big HD TV screen in front of us to get all the action. The boys from the production team are doing an amazing job. They've done all the Indonesian events, I believe, Mark. And,
Yep, they've been doing it for some years. Fresh Air Productions is the crew bringing you the webcast, everybody. And amazingly, it's a two-man show. So Sammy, there he is, wearing the same shirt for 4th day in a row, as always. And the Grommet Lewis.
I think it stands up on its own, that
Oh,
T-shirt.
mate, you should have seen. We did 3 events in 3 weeks, and he's offside a Misha at that event that did those events with us. Wore 1 pair of socks for 3 weeks. Yes, believe it or not. And I think changed his shirt maybe once in 3 weeks. So we were calling them the Stinky Air production boys back there. It was nothing too fresh what was going on in their room, I tell you.
Oh, gosh.
But it was quite funny to see him bat up every day and have the same T-shirt on. Like, are you guys kidding? Get it washed.
Well, I know running cables as far as they have to run, lugging cameras and TVs around.
Stinky Productions.
It is hot and sweaty work. So
Here goes Blue, really wants this wave. Oh, it's white, actually. Oh, geez, he had a good paddle for that. Does he lose priority?
yeah, I think he's going to shuffle to the back of the queue, unfortunately. So
Hang on. The boys still haven't budged on that. I know Heather out there taking on the priority duties. Would have had a good look at that. Probably had a chat with the head judge. The P remains in White's column. I think that was actually Blue looking at that wave, was it?
yeah,
So he
I
had
think
4.
you're right.
Anyway, the boys all know what's going on. The priority system is pretty easy to spot from out there, and Johnny on the PA is doing a great job giving the boys all the instructions. So the tower's based pretty close to where these guys are surfing, much closer than where we're sitting.
Yep.
So it's a bird's eye view straight into the wave. They're probably only 50 or 60 metres in from the takeoff area. Big 3-story tower there. It's a pretty awesome structure. So nothing will be missed. Let's put it that way. So here goes White now trying to backdoor this thing. And he does. He's in the tube. Does he come out? If he does, it's a big number.
Nah, just
No,
gets
there's his
clamped, unfortunately.
Tommy Dixon-Smith. He's got the best wave of the heat made, a 6.9. His backup is super low. So he's still well positioned in second. And the surfer in green needing almost a 5-point ride. The surfer in blue in fourth needs a mid-range 5. So we are down to 5 minutes. Yes, you can see the boys wondering what's going on. That's be one of the local fellas. That'd be the local guy there in the green. There is the tower, everybody. That's what we're talking about. 3 levels. It is massive. It's been there for a long time. It's a pretty solid structure at that. The locals love to get out there and holler and hoot and carry on, mate. And being a Saturday, there'll probably be 200 people on that tower later on today, I reckon.
Oh.
It's a big structure, isn't it? There's the boardwalk. That comes all the way to the beach. It's probably I don't know, a 70 or 80 metre boardwalk to get out there.
Yep.
And then just next to that is where we're positioned. So we would be probably close to 100 metres, I guess, from the tower, and probably 150 metres from the peak. But we've got a nice big screen in front of us, thanks to the boys, the cameramen doing a great job. Feel like we're missing nothing, even though we can't actually see the surf, from our eyeballs.
Yep, well, we're just getting a bit of practice in looking at a big screen, so we won't harp on about what's going on later, but here goes the local cannon.
Yeah, and comes out of that thing. This is much better.
Well done.
I could hear the applause from the tower right, after he came out of that tube. So there are lots of local crew invested in this and watching their last challenger in this round. His name is Benjamin Cannon. And as we were saying yesterday, mate, got shot out of that thing. Here it is again. Check it out. Nice deep tube.
Wow.
And spat out. Little cutback to just tweak up the score a little bit. And out he goes. A little nose wipe on the way out.
Well, I think we saw Benjamin's brother, Mark Cannon, in action. So
yesterday he got belted, didn't he?
Oh, he's a thick-set fella, but must be the younger brother of Mark. And Benjamin out there is going to move up the leaderboard. A nice little tube on the left, and he's going to...
Well, a 4.27, it didn't put him into second, mate, but it brought the requirement down because it turned into his best wave, all right? So he now needs a 4.24, so he got pretty close. And he's just got to sort of repeat that again, and he'll move into second spot and dislodge Tommy Dixon-Smith, the Kiwi. The sad thing for Benjamin at the moment is we're down to 3 minutes, so he's running out of opportunities. Doesn't take long to get back out there, though, which is something Jerry mentioned yesterday, mate. It's about a 20-second paddle from either side of the peak to get back into position. So, as he alluded to yesterday, stuff can happen pretty quick. Here he is again, right on the job. So, as we speak, he's got himself a bit of a closeout, though. But you can see how quick he got back out there, folks. So, that's what we're talking about. Here we go. Look at this thing.
Who's on?
Somebody wants it. It was White paddling for the left, so let's swing that way. He's in the tube. He's well threaded and gets spat out. That was Red Thomas Servey.
Wow.
Well,
we may get a replay of it from the takeoff, but he's completed that ride, which you always want to do. And here goes the Kiwi on his dragging.
Actually, that was the
Spaniard.
Sure,
sorry,
that's Blue. So Blue trying to get out of fourth, threads himself a nice backhand barrel himself. There is one more wave on offer, and no one in the chute. So the boys have all wised up and gone, hey, there's something going on the left. Let's go and investigate. The best scores in this heat have come on the left.
Well, with under 2 minutes to go, will Tom Servey improve his situation? Will this be enough for Ignacio to
Tom
move
Servey
out
will
of fourth?
improve with that tube ride. I don't think we got the start of it, but if we do have the opportunity to see the back end of Thomas's wave again, it's definitely going to upgrade his 2-wave total. It's going to be similar to his good score. And he's going to put the squeeze on everyone else for that all-important first spot. You might be having a chat with Thomas Servey after this one, mate. We're trying to get all the winners in here today.
Yeah, I'd like to find out a little bit more about all our winners, and they can get their opportunity to do a shout-out to the loved ones back at home who are no doubt tuning in here at Cloud 9 as we see the young Kiwi just getting swatted there. So,
well, he's been trying to burn off a 1.6 for quite a while. And he's been unable to do it, so he's gone, surely I can't get out of a heat with a 1.6, and I can't walk out of the water with a 1.6 in my scoreline. But Tommy Dixon-Smith, that looking like the way it's going to end up. Second spot, is it good enough? But it's pretty close. There's not much in it. Gee, there's just over half a point separating second and third. and not much more behind that is Ignacio in fourth. Fortunately, though, 25 seconds. The Ocean doesn't have too many lumps out there on it, so it might be Thomas Servey taking it out ahead of Tommy Dixon-Smith. And there it is, a 6.83 for Tom Servey. So
Nice.
two belter scores there. Interestingly, Tom Dixon-Smith had the best single score of the heat, 6.9. Servey went pretty close. There was 3 tube rides there that all looked quite similar and all boosting into the 6-point range. So 2 seconds, 1 second, that heat is over and out. So congrats to Thomas Servey and Tommy Dixon-Smith. The Goofies did the 1-2 right there. You'll be having a chat with Thomas Servey when we come back, mate, but how about we just throw to a break and come back shortly with Heat 15. We're back. Here we are live, everybody, on day 2 from the Cloud9 region here in the Philippines. Justin Majex, you got some news on that last heat? Something changed right at the end.
Yeah, a bit of a buzzer beater for our Spanish surfer Ignacio Gosalo. I don't think that's right.
Ignacio, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, sorry.
Spanish
Ignacio.
surfer.
Yeah, he got a 6.93 on that last left-hander and bumped him up ahead of Tom Dixon-Smith. So a late change on the leaderboard. So congratulations to Ignacio and Thomas Servi moving on through. Commiserations to Tom Dixon-Smith and Benjamin Cannon, unfortunately bowing out. But yeah, that one went down to that last exchange.
And to start this heat off, how good was that package of the highlights from yesterday? So that's what you just saw, everybody. It went for just over a minute. You can see how sick this wave is and some of the tube rides that went down yesterday. And by all reports, in a couple of days' time, it's going to be way better than that. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. This is my first time here to Siargao, and Cloud9 Surfing Cup is in its 24th year, and I'm really excited to see this exciting forecast eventuate over the next few days with a typhoon just sort of circling out to the northeast of us, and hopefully going to push some really high-performance waves down here for, sort of probably halfway of the round of 96 and into the round of 64, which will be coming up in the next few days.
Yeah, they're sort of calling Monday through Thursday all time. He goes Oni Anwar, who is the surfer in red, throws a bit of a finner, can't stick it. That is the first wave ridden here in Heat 15. So Oni is up against a fellow Indonesian from Lembongan, Putra Hermawan, won this event probably 5 years ago, so he knows how to surf the place. The American Sean Burns and a figure on, I'm not sure of his first name, he's a local fellow there. He got the call up, got the last spot in the draw, so it's good to see another Filipino surf his home break.
Yeah, well, in a bit of a unlucky situation for Oni. He was supposed to be over there in Iracira in Portugal, and Old Australia Post lost his passport, lost his visa.
I believe it, I know. And then he said it cost him a squillion to get it all back and to pay the right whatevers a couple of times, and got a bit reaced. Got his passport back, missed his heats over there, and so he's gone, right, the next best thing, get my act to the Philippines. Here he is for the first time.
And he must feel fairly comfortable at this location. He hails from the Lakey Peak region, which you spend a bit of time at, Mark, and there's some similarities between the two waves, perhaps?
Yeah, there sure is. A big old A-frame, tubes off the takeoff. We had a chat with Oni yesterday about it all, and he's feeling pretty comfortable. He's been here for a few days, and he's gone, how similar is it? It's just unreal. Warm water, surfing in boardies, crystal clear water, big old A-frame. He thinks he's at Lakey Peak. But it is a really good version of it. It's when it does its thing and twists off, it is absolutely world-class, this wave. Look at that dreamy little scene there, little wave no one even wanted. So we will, I think, see the best of this place next week. We just watched green drop into one, so the local here. Yeah, I really reckon we're in for a treat this week, mate, because I've seen this place when it hits its straps, and they reckon it still gets better than what I've seen it.
Wow.
And Jerry Deegan, our fellow commentator who's lived here 20 years, reckons the forecast could not be any better for the back end of this heat.
Yeah, well,
The back end of the event, so...
Super exciting, and I can't wait to see this place turn it up. And looking at some of the names that have made their way here to the Philippines, it's going to be an absolute barrel shootout in the next few days. Fingers crossed. Here goes Oni Anwar, high-flying Indonesian surfer. He's got a great style, and can't find the section to connect with there on that one. Oni's been flying the Indonesian flag for quite some time now, and really, trying to cement himself in that top part of the QS ratings. And
I think he's hovering just under the 50th spot there somewhere. He's been rated a bit higher than that this year. He does generally pretty well in a lot of the events in Australia, which is a place he has called home for quite a while. And he is a serious campaigner that's been doing the rounds for a number of years, so he's a polished competitor. He, you could sort of you actually got to go out and beat. Rarely does he have shockers. Yep. So at this stage, a bit of a nil-all draw across the board for surfers. Best single wave is only a 1-point ride for Oni, so we're talking him up, and as yet they've done nothing. But he goes Putra Hermawan and into a nice barrel, and he is a guy that's another fella that's been around surfing with the rash vest on for a long time. He's won a number of Indonesian high-profile events. He's won here. He's back in familiar surroundings. And can he find that winning feeling again at this stage? That was a good way about starting your heat.
Yeah, well, he's a little fella as well, and tucked up into that tube with no dramas whatsoever. And we see a pretty good little set detonate on the reef out in front. So there's definitely some life to the ocean, and I think as we see that tide continue to push up, I think we got a high tide this morning around about 9:30 local time. So we really saw the conditions improve as that tide pushed in. And we see the replay here of Putra's wave.
Yeah, Putra's opening ride. So really good stuff, and the score locks in at a 5.5 in these sort of conditions. You'd take that as the keeper, maybe hoping it can end up as maybe your second best score. Either way, he has one decent score on the board. That relieves a lot of nerves. Everyone else is still scratching around and nothing to write home about. So advantage to Putra. He was patient, picked a good wave, well tubed. There. Oni now staying busy. Here he is, wave number 3. What can he find this time? Here comes his first manoeuvre. Boom, right in the pocket.
Wow. He's got a great style. He makes his surfing look really easy, which generally is a thing reserved for very talented people. And Oni's got a whole bunch of talented surfing family members as well, doesn't he, Mark?
Yep, I can see Thomas just there. He's going to come in and have a chat with us, winner of the last heat. We just watched the action replay of Oni's best ride so far. He'll put together a lowish number, but a number. So what I might do, Jaddo, is I'm just going to shuffle over. Let's swap headphones.
Yep.
And get Thomas Servey in here. Take 10 minutes, enjoy yourself. It's pretty easy. 10 minutes. Yeah, why not?
About conditions out there.
Yeah, it was pretty tricky. The left seemed like they were the pick. Everyone, was going the left. The right seemed like they were closing out, or not really opening up the barrels.
Just pinching a little bit, perhaps, and he managed to jag a few really good lefts. It was a bit of a tight tussle towards the end out there. Is this your first time to Cloud 9, mate?
I came last year, but didn't make my first heat, so it's good to get that out of the way.
Yeah, get the mocker off your back. And, mate, where are you from? Where do you call home? And what have you been doing in 2018?
So home is Noosa.
Oh, nice.
Noosa Heads. And, I've been travelling around a bit this year to Chile. Went there, that was pretty fun.
Nice.
Just did a couple comps over in Europe. That was pretty cool. And, now I'm here.
Nice. And, mate, this is a pretty world-class location. Any location that barrels over reef and barrels right and left, it's pretty good, eh?
Yeah, it's so crazy here. This place is like heaven on earth. It's just, perfect barrels, and come in, get a coconut, and go surfing.
Mate, tell us who you're travelling with, who's in your little entourage, who's your posse that you've got here with you?
There's 4 of us. There's 5 of us now. So it was me, Max Carney from the Goldie, Quinn Bruce, and Nick Calster.
Oh, there you go. All the Queenslanders rolling together.
Yeah, and Lukey Hine, he bunked in the other night too, so he's in there.
Nice. Well, super exciting to be here at Cloud 9. I'm with the previous heat winner, Thomas Servey from up Noosa in Queensland way, and he had a bit of an arm wrestle, but stuck to the lefts, and I'm not sure if Sam can bring up maybe one of the replays of Thomas's wave. It's always a great opportunity to talk with our winners and see how they did out there. So coming up, you've probably heard about this exciting forecast. Last year when you were here, did the waves eventuate to anything like what we're expecting over the next few days?
Nah, nothing like what's looking. It looks really good. Last year it didn't get that big, but I don't know. It'll be exciting to see what happens.
And tell us, mate, you've travelled to a lot of QS events in 2018. It's always good to get through your first heat with a win, and hopefully use that momentum rolling into the round of 96, which I don't know if we'll see you surfing again today. But is it always good to get that sort of that feeling off your back and get a win?
Yeah, sometimes, I don't know. I like to start in the early rounds and sort of get the ball rolling, but yeah, just got to try to keep it working and keep it going.
Mate, it's a fairly stacked draw looking through to the round of 96. No easy heats on the QS anymore, hey?
Nah, everyone rips on this series, so you just got to, I don't know, I got to surf my own game, but yeah, it's good to learn off other people too. So yeah, just enjoying it.
Mate, you were here yesterday. You took part in that opening ceremony. Was that the longest opening ceremony you can ever remember being part of?
Yeah, I didn't understand too much, but yeah, it was, is that Oni?
Yeah, Oni Anwar just getting spat out of that thing. Carves it back into the pocket beautifully. You must see a little bit of Oni. He spends a fair bit of time in Queensland when he's around.
Oh, the rights are pumping here. Yeah, he's always on the Goldie ripping. Had him up my way a while ago in a junior comp. And surfed Noosa. Yeah, he was ripping on the right end point, so yeah, rips.
And tell us, Noosa, a pretty iconic spot. How do you dodge all the longboards and loggers and trendy crew up there, mate?
Oh, it's pretty hard, eh? You got to find a couple little secret spots around the corner.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all right.
And do you have a longboard in the quiver, hailing from those parts?
I don't have a longboard. I got a finless beater,
There you go.
twinning, and a single fin, but no longboard.
There you go. Well, there's enough longboards in Noosa, as everyone knows, but these boys are getting some pretty good waves all of a sudden. Maybe just enough tide starting to fill in that the rights are opening up and becoming a little bit more hollow.
Yeah, it does look like that. The right's starting to turn on now.
And, mate, I'm sure you've got a few family and friends that are tuning in. You want to do a shout-out to anyone back home?
Yeah, I just want to say hello to Mum, Dad, Hayden, James and brothers. And, yeah, all my mates watching and everyone back home tuning in. You.
Nice. And, yeah, as I said, we're into the 15th heat of round one, the round of 128. I'm alongside Thomas Serby, who took out the last heat in pretty sensational form. He had a 6.83 and a 6.33, I think, were your top two scores, mate.
Okay.
Must feel pretty good to sort of pepper that upper range of good to excellent surfing.
Yeah, just got to get a few better scores next time. But yeah, that's good.
It's the sort of location that good and excellent scores can come pretty easy if you're on the right wave, hey?
Yeah, that's it. Just got to be on the right wave. But all the local boys, they just pick this place apart, eh?
Yeah, they know the lineup well. How have the free surf's been? I've sort of looked out there every day, bright and early or late in the arvo, and there's been a lot of humans out there.
Yeah, it's crazy how busy it is. But I don't know, everyone seems to get waves. I just sort of got to drop the anchor out the back and
Wait for the good ones?
wait for half an hour for one wave.
Yeah, okay.
But they come.
And Tom, what else can you tell us about yourself, mate? Where are you sitting on the ratings currently coming into this event? Do you know?
I think it was like 250 something.
Okay.
And yeah.
Obviously some good points up for grabs. QS 3000s are really relevant coming into the back end of the year, and a lot of valuable points that can be picked up here, and hopefully building that seeding into 2019. Is that your plan, to try and get into some of the higher rated events?
Yeah, that's definitely the goal, to try to get into the sixes for next year in Oz, and then yeah, sort of just go from that.
Nice.
But yeah, try to go good over here.
Yes, well, yeah, it's great to see Cloud9 turning it on. I'm with Thomas Serby, as I've just said, previous heat winner. Oni Anwar has just locked in a 5.5. His backup's a 3.23. This is his fellow countryman. Tom, do you want to talk us through this wave?
Oh, pretty heavy drop. He was ripping out here last year.
Yeah, he's a former event champion. Sort of missed the tube with that late takeoff, but got busy on the rail. He was looking to burn off just a 0.87, so just need to 177 to move up the leaderboard. Pretty much guarantee he's gone that.
Yeah, I think I remember last year I was caddying for Nick Callister, and he was in the same heat, and it was just like the best heat of the comp. And I think he had 2.8s, this guy, and got knocked in his heat.
Wow.
So, yeah, it just goes to show when the waves are on, to perform, eh?
Well,
Everyone's ripping.
yeah, indeed. So we're here at Cloud 9. We're here into the second day of the waiting period, and the waves are set to turn on with a bit of a typhoon out to the northeast of us, set to bring some really all-time waves to this location. I'm here to commentate these heats, and I can tell you a 2.63, the last of blue, has moved him up into second spot. So white, Sean Burns, now down in third, and the local Mr. Figueron in the green, a 4.74 required by him. Mate, you're travelling with all the Queenslanders, like you said, a talented bunch of surfers that are in your posse. Looking through the draw, who do you want to try and avoid, or who are the people that you think could do the most damage out here?
Oh, not really trying to avoid anyone. Just, I guess you don't really want a local in your heat because they rip. Even that kid I had in my last heat, I think someone said he won the junior nationals.
Yep.
And yeah, he was picking off some of the lefts, and he got pretty close.
He
at the end.
did.
So,
He did.
yeah, I guess the local boys, don't want to get them.
Well, the Philippine surfers, they certainly know what they're doing, and they had their national championships here the day before the event, and you might have seen a few of their performances in the national final. The whole sort of town came down, and there was a lot of hooting and hollering. The whole tower was full. It's a pretty exciting thing to see a country probably not famous for its surfers, sort of stepping it up here at Cloud 9.
Yeah, it was crazy how busy it was. I didn't even get onto the boardwalk. It was that busy, so I had to watch it from the beach. But I just kept seeing them all get spat out of barrels.
Well, here goes Oni Anwar again, looking to improve on a 3.27. Flirting with the tube there. Nice little rock and roll floater to finish, and he signs out of that one. Well, here goes a second placeholder in the blue. Can't find the barrel, but that's a nice turn. Catches an edge. Quick one. Not sure if you're an AFL man. Probably not, given you're from Queensland. But any interest in the AFL Grand Final today?
I just know Richmond got knocked in the preliminary final, but I don't know who's in the final now.
Well, it's West Coast Eagles versus Collingwood. So
Well,
two birds. You want to pick one?
well, Dad hates Collingwood, so I'm going to have to go for the Eagles.
There you go. Good, correct answer. And again, tomorrow's the NRL Grand Final. Any predictions for that one?
Storm.
Storm.
Yep.
There you go. All right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Well done again on your performance in that last heat, and we look forward to seeing you in the round of 96. Thomas Servey, good on you, mate.
Sweet. Cheers for that. Thanks, mate.
So with just 5 minutes remaining in this heat, it's the two Indonesian surfers holding down the lead. Oni Anwar with a 5.5 and a 4.17, and former winner in the blue from Lombongan is also got a 5.5 under the belt. He needs a 4.18 to catch Oni, and the requirement for Sean Burns in the white, just a 4.47, and for the local Mr. Figueron in the green needs a 4.74. So Thomas, he's a pretty laid-back cat, Mark. He's
yeah, he certainly is.
got the long blonde hair, and
Well, I know his old man pretty well from back in the day. So Chucky, if you're out there listening in, his old man will be invested in this grand final. He's a Victorian.
oh, there you go.
So Thomas, although he's living in Queensland, he didn't allude to the fact that his old man's from Victoria. So Tommy will be following it without a doubt. He'll probably be going for the Collingwood mob, maybe.
No,
If not, Tom, get on board and barrack for the Eagles.
no,
Chucky.
he said he hates Collingwood, so he's
No, Chucky. I mean his dad.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
his dad originally from Victoria. So anyway, back to this current heat. And look, the Indos have both got a 5.5 and both got a second score that's kind of lowish. So they're currently holding the lead. Burnsy, what's he looking at? Surfer in white, a 4.47 to advance, and the local needs a similar sort of score to get out of trouble. So Putra would be feeling a little nervous. The requirements there aren't much for both white and green. Oni will be trying to delete that 4.17. And time now is right at the business end of this heat, just over 3 minutes. And And then our next heat. Well, I know something else. I've just been given some news, Juddo, which is might affect the event here this morning. We're not going to have a break. Okay. I believe, speaking with Ty Conigan, one of the judges, there is a forecast brownout here between 8 and 9. Now, brownout is almost like a blackout where the power gets shut down for an hour. I think the judges have
Some
a
generators.
gen set to keep rolling out there. If we go offline for any reason here and you're wondering what the hell's going on, well, it's nothing to do with your equipment. It's nothing to do with our equipment. I just think there is a forecast power shortage between 8 and 9 here in Siargao this morning. That's word from one of the judges. So let's see if that eventuates. I hope not, because this heat has had a lot of bomb sets, mate. I was just watching through the trees, and there's been a lot of big sets coming through as the tide pushes in. It would be a pity to have to waste this sort of stuff. Look at that.
Oh,
Are you
my
kidding me?
goodness.
Waves they aren't even riding. Look at that.
Well, I've got an hour to go charge my phone before the power shuts down.
Potentially. Potentially. So let's see. I hope it doesn't happen. Here goes White dropping into a bomb. It's Burnsy coming from way downtown. He's deep. He's too deep.
Oh,
Bummer. So a little wasted opportunity there for Sean Burns.
yeah, well, it seems like a pretty busy part of the island over here, and a lot of people coming in for the weekend, so maybe some little issues with the power, as we've heard. So stick with us. I think we've got some backup generators that'll get us through any potential power downs, so fingers crossed. 90 seconds remaining. It's the two Indonesian surfers holding first and second position. They hold first and second priority as well. So with the heat slowly winding down, Sean Burns will be hoping that one of those guys catches a wave and potentially opens up the door just slightly.
Putra is a staunch competitor. He's got the number one priority. He's in blue. Oni is also a fierce competitor. He's got the second priority. They're both in first and second. Don't need to ride a wave. More importantly, they've got to fend off Burnsy and Mr. Figueron in green, and they've got 1 minute to hold on here. So the Indo's doing the 1-2. Putra's having a sniff. That's all he does, just eyeballs that thing. Doesn't like it. You can see the quality of the waves that are going unridden. It's a pretty fair playing field out here. It's improved as the tide's pushed up. Here we go now. So Putra wants this thing. He's got it. A big old takeoff.
Oh.
Here he goes now. A little late for the tube, so he ducks in and gets a little bit of cover. It was still pretty cool. He might even go to the lead with this wave. He needs just over 4 points out of this ride. And he goes on, he right behind him, so answering back, trying to maintain the lead with 20 seconds to go. A little face wipe, he checks his watches and gone, have I done enough to hang on to the lead? Putra's still going.
Wow. Well,
So,
Burnsy be hoping in the next 10 seconds. Is this his opportunity?
Well, it's going to have to be if he's going to become a round 2 surfer. 4 seconds.
I think time has run out for him. We're counted out 3, 2, 1.
So we're not sure of that last exchange. Putra needed a 4.18. Might be pretty close to getting that number. May have dislodged Oni out of first position. I'm not sure. Either way, we'll be having a chat with one of the two Indonesians because we're trying to get all winners in here today. So after this short break, I'll either be chatting with Oni or Putra. But either way, that's the end of Heat 15, everybody. So we'll just shut it down for now. We'll throw it on ad and we'll be back shortly.
concerned with that social phenomenon. We are concerned with that evolution.
We are inspired by the sea. Our minds dive into the depths of its blue. Our bodies dance with its waves. The sea gives and gives, but the sea can also take away. Without our ocean, who are we? If we don't protect the ocean, we will be nobody. Come brother, come sister. We are called to share a love for the sea, for everything it gives, and we must make it known. We must show the world that we love our island home. Together, we are more than surfers. We are more than villagers and voyagers. We are more than islanders and escapists. We are one family, protecting our one and only future. Kudo surf, living the dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We are back and we're looking at Heat 16 here at Cloud 9 in the Philippines. I've got the winner of Heat 15 with me. His name is Pucha Hermawan. Good morning, Pucha. How are you?
Good morning, Bunga. Good, I'm good, thanks.
Tell us a little bit about yourself for the people online, where you're from, how old you are.
I'm from Klungkung, Nusa Lembongan, just close to Bali, like 30 minutes from Sanur to Lembongan with a speedboat.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on 25 years old.
All right. And not only that, more importantly, you've won this event before. What year was that?
Yeah, I was on. It was on 2013.
Yep.
I won the ice setter.
Yeah. I remember I was
yeah.
there. It was pumping too.
Yeah, it
wasn't
was insane.
So this wave really is a world-class scene. You've got to be loving what's going on here today, eh?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
So you'd be happy enough if they rolled through to round 2 and you had another surf today?
No, I just slept in my head.
Yeah, but if they had another surf, if they went into round 2 and you got to compete again today, you'd be happy to do it again?
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
What does it remind you of? You know, you've been around a long time and you've surfed a lot of events. What does this sort of wave remind you of anywhere you've surfed before?
Oh, this wave is reminding me at my home break at Lembongan.
All right.
It's called laceration.
Oh,
It's really same like this.
there
Just
you go.
Take off and get barrel.
Unreal. Well, it is a world-class wave. It's a quality wave. It's a lot like sort of the Lakey Peak wave, but I think potentially better. And it's a lot like Lembongan, the sizzling barrels you get rifling off through there. So you're feeling pretty comfortable being a former winner and the fact that it feels like home.
Yeah, for sure.
Unreal. Have a look at this. The surfer in green. Geez, while we were chatting and I missed
Oh.
it. Hopefully we can see this again. So, Sammy, if we've got the 8.6 ride of Troy Van Villet, who I know nothing about, apart from the fact he now owns the highest single wave score in the event, something sick must have happened. So I'm hoping we can see. It might have happened in the break. There was a fair break between the end of that heat and the start of this one. So Maybe we didn't get it, but either way, the good news is Mr. Van Vliet is now our heat leader. So who are you travelling with?
I'm traveling with Kutut Agus.
Yep, okay. He won his heat as well?
Yeah, he wants with.
So something's working. Where are you guys staying?
Yeah.
Where are you staying?
We're staying at Ocean 101.
Oh, yeah, 101. Yeah, I know where that is. It's right where the boats leave from to go out to the islands.
Yeah.
It's a cool place. Michael, the owner. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Bunga.
Now, it's a long way from Bali.
Yeah, it's a long way.
How many flights did it take you to get here?
3 flight.
3 flights and a bit of a car ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So who helped you get here? Who's currently looking after you? You have sponsors?
I had sponsored by Yuki brand.
Oh, that's right, yep.
Supporting me all the years.
So Yuki Clothing? What do they
Just brand.
do? Okay, all right.
Set brand, yeah.
Who's making your surfboards these days?
Harlem Surfboard is from Japan.
Oh,
Set
okay.
by Takuda.
Okay, all right. Good stuff. And when you guys were in that heat just then, we'll just have a look. Here goes our heat leader. So Van Vliet.
Yeah.
All right, so Troy Van Vliet. Trying to get rid of a 267. So you just had a heat with a good mate and another fellow Indonesian in Onianwai. Do you guys have any chats when you're in the water? Was there any talk going on, or was it no noise?
No noise. We all focus on
So
the
nobody's
waves.
saying
Nobody's-
anything the whole
yeah.
heat? Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed you guys had a lot of big sets in the heat.
Yeah.
Okay. And just having a chat with Jerry Deegan before, who's going to come back in a moment. He said if we get some offshore wind, because there's like no breeze, then those things are going to open right up. But it looked a little tricky. Looked like they were pinching a bit on the takeoff just then.
Yeah.
All right. So what else can you tell me? What are you up to these days? Are you working, or are you chasing events still, or what's going on?
I just surf and do a lot of competition.
Okay, and you don't work at all? You don't have
No,
a
I
job?
don't work.
You're still a professional surfer?
Still professional, yeah.
And 25 years of age, did you say?
Yes.
All right. So what's next, mate? Are you planning on trying to take out the ASC points again? You've been an overall champion in the Indonesian circuit, haven't you?
Yeah.
What year was that? Once or twice?
Just one, but I want Pro Junior and Open Division.
In the same year?
Yeah,
or
in the
different
same year.
Same year. So
Yeah.
you were having a stellar year. What year was that?
18.
Sorry?
18.
18?
Yeah, 18 years old.
How old? What year was it? So it must have been like 2010.
2010.
2010 was your year.
Yes.
The Indonesian Open and Junior champion.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a really good stat,
Thank you.
buddy. And having won out here before. Well, so what other big-time events have you won? Was your win here at Cloud9 the biggest event of your career, or have you won something bigger than this before?
I think the IST.
Yep, but
Yeah.
as a single event,
Single
one
event?
event. What else is right up there with your Cloud9 win?
I think this one.
I think when you won here,
Yeah.
it was so sick. It was all the boys were here. There was a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
Bali boys here. You won, I think, about $5,000, and you didn't even know what to do with that much money. And I remember we went and had a big party in General
I
Luna
know.
that night, and so really good memories of that year.
Yeah.
Because I remember Garut was here, Marlon,
Oh, everyone here. Mustafa,
Mega,
Mega,
all
yeah.
the boys were here. And,
Japan.
yeah, Pepin, of course. So good times. So who's your posse at home? Who are your best friends at home that you hang out with all the time?
All the boys.
Like who? Give me some names.
His name Bangkok. Chakil.
Because some of those guys will probably be watching right now.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, do you want to say something to your boys? You can say it in Indonesian or you can say it in English. Would you like to say something to the crew at home?
Yeah, I want to thank to my sponsor, UK Brand, for supporting me, and all the boys for supporting me, and Lemon Surf team too. Okini Coffee, yeah, Dragons.
And what about someone like Billy Hangen, who's been in
Yeah.
your quarter? What about Billy?
Thank
Say
you,
good day to Billy.
Hangen. He's a good competitor.
Here goes Blue now, ducks his heat, gets in the barrel,
Didn't come out.
and out he goes. So what I think we'll do, Putra, is we'll just say, listen, thanks for coming in and having a
Yeah,
chat.
thank you, Junga.
All the best for the rest of the rounds, and basically go the Indos. You know I love
Thank
you
you.
guys. Good on you, mate. Thanks for having a
Thanks.
chat with me,
Thank you.
everybody. That was Putra Hermawan, winner of the last heat, and he won here in 2000 and what year was it? Out here, 2013? 2013, he was the champion. So thank you. All the best. We'll get Jerry Deegan in with me, and we're going to talk up the rest of this heat. So here he is, the big fella. Jerry Deegan throws on the headphones. Jerry,
Mark, thanks for inviting me back.
yeah, no, you did a great job yesterday. We love chatting with you because you know everything about everything to do with everything in Siargao. That's a big wrap.
Big fish in a
But
small
it's
pond.
true. Yeah, that's okay, mate. So, you know, at least you're in a pond, and it's a good pond. Tell me about the conditions today. What do we need?
I heard you just talking to Poochie before. We need wind. That's what we need. We need the offshore to pick up. It's not predicted to pick up as much today as it did yesterday, or as much as it will tomorrow. We're only predicted to have about 6 or 7 miles an hour. But if we had that, which would be 10 Ks, if we had that straight offshore, it would change the look of these waves. You know, we would really, it would open up the barrels. And that's what we need, especially in this north swell.
Yeah, because we've got the size, yeah?
We've got the size. We've definitely got the size. See, that one would have stayed far more open. It would have held up a little more. And you'll find the guys going left, actually, the barrels are staying a bit more open because it's hitting the reef. But, yeah, we really need a breeze.
All right, so here goes Dylan Moffat, parks himself in that thing and gets another great tube ride on the left. And I don't think I've seen the left used as much in the last couple of days. As you know, I've been here 5 times now, and it seems to be almost the go-to option.
I haven't seen the left used in any comp in all the time I've been here as much as it's been used now.
Wow, okay.
I've certainly had days that I've surfed out there, particularly in the earlier days, when, you know, you 10 or 12 guys are going right, and I know it's a north swell, and there's 2 of us just getting shacked on the left.
And you're just keeping it quiet.
Keeping it quiet, yeah. But today, this is the comp that I've seen. Ooh, bail out there.
Most lefts ridden.
Most lefts ridden that I've seen. And they're getting some great barrels, and to be honest, the barrel's better on the left than the right. As the tide drifts out, and hopefully the wind comes up, it'll certainly turn back to the rights.
Okay.
And I think we're going to carry on a bit more, and this is a nice looking wave.
So Harrison, what are we talking? This is Tezu Harrison, another Australian. So 3 Australians in this heat. Dylan Moffat in the red. Troy Van Vliet, who has an 8.6, which I missed, and I don't know what happened, but he must have got barreled off his head. Tezu Harrison, that's the Aussie there in white, and they're all up against the Spaniard, whose name is Ruben Vitoria, who is in blue, currently in 3rd.
We were due to have a power outage. The local power company told us that we were going to have 1 hour of power gone. So we set up generators, we carried on, and I rang them just 10 minutes before it was start, and they said, no, we've cancelled it for you. So it's nice to get support from, you know, the local infrastructure. I wish they'd told us a bit early, but I appreciate Siargao that they haven't given us this blackout today. So
unreal. So play on, basically. So all the crew online, that's the good news. We will not be going off air. I reckon, you know, this is the heat 4 of the morning. Yesterday we did 12 heats, and I think looking at these conditions, I'll be pushing for something similar.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, so here goes the Spaniard. Weaving. He's still in there, is he?
There.
Wow, he must have got close. So Ruben rolling the dice, trying to get out of 3rd. Now, yesterday, the ceremony of ceremonies. That was a big day. It was a big ceremony, but it was a big time deal for the locals, wasn't it?
Real big time deal. We had the First Lady here. Which is, we've had a president here before. I think Gloria Arroyo, she came one time to open the event, which is amazing. And that's why so many people come to see these people they don't normally get to see. And she spoke very well about the environment and other issues, which, you know, I sometimes zone out a little bit of the opening ceremonies, but she spoke really well and got the crowd involved. It was a bit late on that one.
Yeah,
a bit deep.
Tezu will remain in 4th with an effort like that. But yeah, some of the speeches, you know, as long as they were, they had all the locals just glued to what they were saying, and there was, like you said, a lot of the issues regarding plastic, a lot of issues regarding the next generation, trying to look after the area, and all those real positive messages, and you could really get a sense of how important this event is for the Philippines and what surfing means for this immediate area.
Absolutely, and we had a discussion last night with the Department of Tourism Secretary, and he seems pretty keen to keep it going. You know, there's some work to be done. I mean, the comp will keep going. We've been told that they want us to find sponsors for the comp because the government, you know, they've been shelling out the money for a long time now, and we do have sponsors, but we're certainly looking for a major sponsor.
So anyone out there want a piece of this?
Anyone out there?
Contact Jerry Deegan.
I was trying not to be so obvious.
Oh, let's just throw it out there. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
Anybody wants in on this event, contact Deegs.
And it's a great event. I mean, we're webcast, and we run together with Portugal pretty much, so you go from one webcast straight to the next, so the audience is just amazing.
Stay up for a week in a row.
Just watching TV. And then you stay up afterwards and you watch the President's Cup golf as well.
All right, so waves roll through. Van Vliet is still in the lead. I'd love to see that 8.6. I'm spewing I missed it, but
Yeah.
if we do get him up here for a chat, you'll probably do the interview. Make sure you find out exactly what went on that, because
Absolutely.
it's the best single wave of the event. Well, we've seen today the 2 best scores of the event happen today, so even without the wind we need, the 2 best numbers have been thrown out already in the first 4 heats of the day. So, that's
what do you do?
pretty
You've
cool.
got to carry on. And what's happening a little bit here is the guys aren't prepared for these bigger sets. And some of them are coming with a bit of a roll in, but they're not prepared to sit far enough out for them because they're not coming in often enough. And so they are missing these slightly bigger sets because of the inconsistency of them. But some of them are really nice. I've seen a bunch of epic waves go through, and I suspect maybe our guy that got the 8.6 might have been out there ready for one. And again, we did miss it. But
what I also suspect is this. When we roll into round 2 next, we've got some locals coming up. Glenn Figueron will be in the first heat. In fact, the next heat, Carlito, he'll wait for a nugget or 2.
Absolutely. Those guys will know. I mean, Carlito is renowned as a fantastic barrel rider, and when it's nasty and weird out here, he knows where to be, exactly what spot to be on. So, if the other guys in the heat are listening, stick with him.
All right, and then we'll have another Filipino in heat 3 of the next round, Eduardo.
Aloisio. Yeah, he is not from this area. He's from up north. Actually, no, that's meant to read Eduardo Alciso, actually. So he is from here. He's a young fella from here,
right.
And a really good barrel rider as well. I believe he hurt his leg earlier in the piece and just scraped through his first round. And I think his sponsor, which is Hippie from Hippie Surf Shop, took him to get an X-ray. They've cleared him for the X-ray, but he can barely walk. But I don't think for anything he's going to miss the heat.
All right, okay. So either way, when it is a little tricky like this, and you're saying positioning out far enough and stuff like that, I expect maybe then a little step up from these guys coming up next, Figueron, and particularly Carlito, who I know is a power monger and doesn't even look at little waves.
No, he's not interested. And he used to be, but he's a big guy now as well, so he needs a bit more power. Glenn Figueron, I know his lovely girlfriend is about 4 or 5 months pregnant, so congratulations to both of them. I think this will be both of their first child, and they're building a house out the back here.
All right, well, so is Dylan Moffat. He's been building a house. He's in second spot, mate. He's got first priority, and he's trying to burn off at least a 4 to extend his hold on that position, and here he goes right on cue. So the surfer in red, Dylan Moffat, looks on his backhand. A bit of tube avoidance, it was there, but he opted to try and get out of there and copped a bit of a swack on the shoulders for his efforts. Blue.
Okay, here we go. Blue, he's up. He's going to get underneath. Oh, he didn't really get in there. He's going to get straight out of there.
So
I think Dylan actually was looking to the right and realised it wasn't going to happen, and that's, I think, why he wasn't necessarily ready for the left.
Okay, all right. So either way, probably nothing gained or lost out of those 2 waves ridden from red and white. As we see, blue and red. So blue, he knows he missed the tube, and he's like, got to be deeper. Got to be deeper. It's pretty important, eh? It's all about where you paddle onto this wave. If you backdoor it enough, your work's done kind of already.
And you have to backdoor it, but it's tricky. The North Swell's tricky. The lack of wind is tricky. It's one of those days that if there weren't many guys out there and there was no comp, I probably wouldn't race out there. I might be looking for somewhere else to surf just because of how tricky it is.
All right. Okay. So the guys that are getting the big scores are doing an outstanding job there.
They are. It's not as easy as it looks out there. And you can tell, you got these 4 quality surfers. They do have a best score, but apart from that, the next high score is a 4.83. So, it's tough work out there. And
okay, that's a good point you make, Jerry. This is why we love having you in here with us.
Love being with you, mate.
It's good fun. We missed you last night. We were up at the beer hut.
I went to the wrong beer hut. I was looking everywhere for you.
Check your emails. He goes Dylan again. Sticker. This is better. He's taken the high line this time. He throws on the brakes, but the wave doesn't cooperate. So had he done that on that last wave, I think he could have maybe potentially moved into the lead.
Yeah, and he was definitely going left on that one.
So plenty of waves unloading out here. We're watching the last heat of round 1, ladies and gentlemen. So the good news is we'll be rolling into round 2 shortly, where we get some higher seeded surfers coming into the mix, and all the guys that won yesterday and today, first and second places. So the quality of the field improves, and the waves are definitely there. So for all the crew out there around the world watching the webcast, definitely stick around. What do you reckon? We've got another 8 heats ahead of us today. Be handy, wouldn't it?
I think we'll have 6 to 8 heats, yeah. I mean, I'd like to do the 12 that we did yesterday. That would be great. I see we've got our first Mexican in the next heat, Sasha Donano. Do you know anything about Sasha?
Not at all, mate.
Because we had 2 young Mexican lads last year, and they did fairly well, and they actually invited me to Mexico. I didn't manage to get to their place, although I did go to Mexico.
Got stuck in Cronulla, didn't you?
I got stuck in the Shire. Well, why would you want to leave the Shire?
Oh, because you had to put a wetsuit on. Would be a probably obvious first reason, but
Yeah, well, that is a reason. That is
there,
definitely
everybody.
a reason.
45 seconds on the clock. The man sitting next to me is Jerry Deegan. He's the former owner of the place that will always be known as Sagana Resort. Even though they've changed their name, they're pretending themselves. It's good to have a chat with you, mate. 30 seconds to go. A man that's lived here for 20 years, so some handy insights. I think you're going to be getting a chat with Troy Van Vliet. I think that's how you say his name, so ask him that one as well.
I will, yes.
20 seconds to go, and the other fellow Australian, Dylan Moffat, hasn't improved on his 4-point wave as his lowest second score. He's got 10 seconds to do something about it and will not take off on another wave. So that will be the result. Congrats to Troy and Dylan. 5 seconds to go, I think. This wave won't break in
I think
time.
they'll be struggling to get up on that one.
Yep.
Oh, he's going to try his hardest. Oh,
Wow, there goes
our
another
leader.
great barrel. Look at that.
Oh.
My God. Was that a scored ride? I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. That man there in the green race vest has been well and truly barreled to start his heat, to finish his heat, and he will be the official winner of Heat 16 of round 1. So, Jerry, I think we'll just throw to a quick break, mate, and be back with round 2.
Okay, great.
We are concerned with that social phenomenon. We are concerned with that explosion.
Righto, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We are back now with the start of round 2, heat 1. That's what the scene looks like here in Siargao. That is the famous Boardwalk out to the iconic 3-storey tower out there here at Cloud 9. How long has this Boardwalk
Walkway?
been up for, mate?
Well, I think they put the first tower up, a very small one, in the very early days in '96. And they found that they had some politicians that were sponsoring the event that couldn't actually get out to it at high tide. So then they thought they'd build a rickety walkway. And over the years it fell down 3-4 times in big swells. and eventually they put a cement post on there. And so the one as it stands now, I'd say 6 or 7 years. And they fix it every year, they replace it. They're actually charging, not during competition time, but at other times they're charging 50 pesos, which is about $1 per person to go out there. Then you can walk out 100 times a day, and the money goes towards the upkeep of the walkway and the tower.
All right, well, that's pretty interesting stuff to know. One quick question before I boost out and get Justin Majax in. How come it's on a zigzag? What's going on there?
It's on a zigzag because there was a resort here for many years, which isn't there now, and they had a zigzagging pathway out into the mangroves to where their boats were moored. And so they saw that and thought, we love the zigzag, we're going to put a zigzag. It used to zig and zag more than it zigzags now. But,
I'm going to zig and zag right out of here. That's my last question to you, Jerry, so you can sit down with Justin Majax and take us through round 2.
All right,
cheers,
nice
boys.
one.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, and good morning, Jerry.
Hi, Justin. How you going?
Good, mate. Now, on the boardwalk, did I hear a little bit of talk during that opening ceremony that they might be upgrading that, or was that, I don't know?
You know, I did hear mention of that,
Yeah.
and someone asked me this question this morning, and I hope the politicians aren't listening, but sometimes I zone out a little bit during the opening ceremonies, but I hope not.
Okay.
I hope not. You know, I think what's on the reef now is well and truly enough, and the truth is it's an iconic destination now, and the Boardwalk's iconic, but, you know, don't do too much.
Yeah.
That's my thinking. I wasn't even happy with the cement pylons there, you know.
Okay.
And I don't think the environmental agencies would really like something more than what's out there now. There was a bigger plan earlier to have another restaurant and this and that, but we kind of got into a discussion and a nice little left, nice little cover up.
Yeah,
That's our Hawaiian buddy, I believe.
Yeah, that's Matty Costa. He was in the opening heat, believe it or not, of the first heat of the event. Seems like a long time ago now, but believe it or not, it was only 17 heats ago, and Matty Costa in the white. Nice little inside left there, and good way to kick off a heat.
Yeah, I had a chat with him earlier. He's staying up with Alon at Villa Maya, and loving it here. First time here.
A lot of Hawaiians in the draw I've seen, so Kaimana's maybe brought a few of his buddies
Well,
back
he's
along.
staying with Kaimana. I think they're rooming together,
there you
as a matter
go.
of fact. And yeah, he has brought his buddies, and I think they love the wave. You know, they love the wave. They love the spot, and it's a Hawaiian style wave, and they're good at it. You know, they appreciate the power, they appreciate the barrel. And I had a little chat with him about the lefts before.
There you go. He's obviously got his ears open and listening to Jerry Deegan, who's been here longer than anyone, contest director for the event. You're a bit of an all-rounder, mate. You're doing a little bit of everything, aren't you?
I do, but I would like to, Surf and Blues, have a look. I'd like to qualify that I haven't been here the longest. I mean, you've got guys like Kevin Davidson and Dave Motby. These are the two guys and a couple of other guys that were here earlier and around the same time as me, Stuart Cadden, other guys like that. I'm probably the one that stayed the longest, and although Kevin's back now, and probably got the most involved on a local level as well.
Okay.
So that's why I get called on often for certain duties. But I don't mind it. I love it. I love the place and I love the people.
Yeah, it's very friendly. It's my first time here, so for a guy that's making his first trip, you see a bit of live action there. That was really well done by a surfer in red. Thought he was going to miss the tube, but...
Yeah, that's Takumi Nakamura, Japanese lad. Yeah, that was nice. He got round that really well, and he surfer in blue. I believe that was blue. Sasha? Oh, that's our Mexican lad.
Wow, there you go.
Sasha doesn't sound like a very Mexican name to me.
It doesn't.
But what do I know about Mexico? Here we go. Nice replay. Yeah, it was a great little clean barrel.
Yeah, we held his speed through the takeoff, and
Oh, shame he did that at the end, but still he'll get paid for the barrel. We'll see what he gets pretty soon.
yeah, well, Matt Costa's open with a 3.17. Our Hawaiian we were speaking about in the white,
That was that left.
3.17. So just finding his toes in the wax and opening with an average score there, but I'm sure we'll see that disappear in the next 19 or so minutes. But as I was saying, Jerry, my first time here, I'm blown away by the beauty of the place. Obviously, the environment has been a really important thing to maintain and to factor in. There's a no plastic bottle policy at the event. I haven't seen a plastic straw while I've been here, so it's good to know that the Filipino people value the environment and
Exactly.
value surf tourism in this part of the world.
Yeah, bamboo straws, some stainless steel reusable, and they're right into it. You know, you've got Sea Movement, you've got other NGOs here that are really working hard here. You know, and for nothing, they're just doing it because of the love of the place and the love of the environment, and it's teaching the locals. And it's got to be the cleanest town I know in the Philippines. You know,
Okay.
I mean, you'll get local guys harassing someone that's throwing something on the ground. You know, we love it. We love it, and we love the fact that they're all helping. Really like it a lot, and they're working hard. You know, I used to come here and see people throw stuff everywhere, bottles on the reef, you name it, they threw it. And now the locals are just leading the charge with a bunch of foreigners, and like I said, you walk around, you don't see a lot of crap on the ground here, that's for sure.
No.
And in a lot of Philippine cities and particularly country towns, you see a lot.
Yeah, well, it's a credit to the local area here at Siargao. It's a beautiful area, crystal clear water. As we see our surfer in blue, just a little bit too deep on that one. I think we've got our previous heat winner here, so I'm going to just slide out and you can do the interview process with our man, and I'll jump back in the hot seat in a moment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with 17 minutes remaining, we were going to bring Troy, the winner of the last heat. I think it's Troy Van Vliet, but I'll get him to pronounce his name exactly, Aussie lad. Hello, Troy. You're going to pop that thing on and you can be able to hear what we're saying. So, how you going? I'm Jerry. First time we've met. First time you've been here in the Philippines?
No, it's actually my third time.
Is it? Have we met before?
I think last year we had a couple of beers.
Humbly apologise.
Nah, it's all good.
Maybe we had too many. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Van Vliet.
Van Vliet.
Yeah.
And where in Aussie are you from?
Maroubra, Sydney.
Now it's all becoming clearer now. Yeah, sorry about that. So how did you go on that last heat? We missed that first wave of yours. I think we had a little technical issue there. Tell me what happened. Because you got a great score.
It literally it was like 3 seconds after the hooter went.
No, I mean the first wave you've got.
Yeah, it was 3 seconds after the start.
Oh, the first hooter, okay.
Yeah, so it was, I don't know.
It was a left, it was a right?
It was a right. Yeah, it was a right. And, just sort of it through and just, phone board. It nearly bucked me off once, but just came through. Yeah,
and
was lucky.
That last one that we did see, was that just on the hooter?
No, it was after.
Oh, so
it was similar to that one, probably a little bit better, but it didn't matter at the time. So.
Okay, nice. And so now that was the last heat of the first round, so you'll be straight into the second round. What do you think of the conditions at the moment?
They're fun.
It's a little difficult out there, is it?
No, it's
because you got
good.
the 8.
it's pretty good.
No one else got anything more than a 4 in that heat.
I got that wave right at the start, and I didn't get another good one till right at the end. So there was a lot of duds out there. Like they're not that hollow. I think the periods dropped out, so they're kind of closing out, as you can see, and just not staying open.
Yeah, well, I think it's the like we discussed it before, the north swell and the lack of wind. We don't have the wind on it. The wind is the thing that really holds them open.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys going left But yeah.
What are you up to next? Where do you head off to, and what's your dreams of the WQS? Are you just chilling, or you chasing hard?
No, mate. This is like my third one this year. I just came here basically for a holiday with my girl, who's had a bit of a full-on time last couple of months. She had some major brain surgery and.
Wow, and she's okay.
Oh, she's fully. This is like the milestone end of her recovery sort of period. So we love this place. So we thought we'll come here and I'll do this contest while we're here as well. And it's so win lose doesn't matter really.
Well, you're winning, so that's a fantastic thing.
Bonus really
into the next round, and we've got some pretty good predictions over the next few days. They've downgraded it a fraction, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be pumping. So I hope we're going to see you there in the semi-finals and finals.
Yeah,
feeling confident?
If it's hollow, I'll be keen.
All right,
just want to get a couple of barrels.
All right, well, cool. Well, thanks for dropping in. You want to shout out to anyone down there in the bra?
Everybody, watching. I've got a couple of mates, all the Wizards watching. Mulloway Party Wave. And my coaches, Monty. My coach Monty and Luke Molnar.
Okay, nice. And do you know, just before we finish up, do you know Kevin Davidson, who's a Maroubra legend?
Yeah.
Have you had a chat with Kevin since you've been here?
Yeah. He lets us park up on his balcony there, leave all our stuff, so we don't have to deal with the hustle of the tower. So.
Yeah, because I was asked, they were saying, you're the guy that's been here the longest, but I'm not. Kevin actually is the guy. Kevin's the man. He's a quiet man. You don't get too many words out of him. But he's the guy that. You won't say put it on the map, but he was here in the very early days, and he's the king of the barrel. And
he's a legend back at home. And actually, first time I met him was actually over here last year. So
yeah, okay,
yeah.
All right, well, cool. Thank you very much for dropping in. Good luck with the rest of it.
Cheers, mate.
And I'm glad your lovely ladies are looking fine over there.
Stoked.
Yeah, unreal.
All
right, cheers, buddy.
Catch you later.
P.S. I'll remember you next time. Okay, so we've got 13 minutes remaining. That was Troy Van Vliet. He's from Maroubra, obviously, and probably made a little bit of a fool out of myself there, but I do it all the time, so nothing unusual there. So the big man's joining us again.
Yep, back in the hot seat, Jerry.
Welcome back. So I felt a little funny there. I have met him before, but I didn't think I had.
Well, mate, you've done very well to remember all the names and all the faces here over many seasons. I'm sure that
it gets hard. I must say, it gets hard. And that was Sasha again, our Mexican surfer. It gets hard because people come and go all the time. Then there's 128 guys in the comp, and it just gets a little hard to remember. And I'm not the young man I once was as well. I'll be nearly 30 soon. So what do you do?
There you go. We're approaching the halfway stage of this heat, just over 12 minutes remaining, and the best of it so far to our Japanese surfer in the red, Takumi Nakamura, 4.83 Matty Costa in second spot, the Hawaiian. He's got priority, chasing just a 1.67 to move up the leaderboard, and some small requirements for blue and green. Now, I've seen the last name figure on in the draw quite a few times. Obviously, a few brothers here.
A few brothers and a few cousins. Figueron is a very well-known name, particularly around here. And I'll give a shout-out to Rudy Figueron, who is one of Glenn's much older brothers. He is one of the very first surfers here. And another guy named Neil Berthe were the two first local surfers
You
on the island.
pointed him out to me yesterday, I remember
He was walking past, yeah.
Yep.
That's Neil. That's Rudy.
Yep.
And Rudy's a legend around town, not just for his surfing. He's a carver and a builder, and he was married to a very nice Aussie lady and lived in South Australia for about 3 or 4 years. Has 3 lovely boys.
There you go.
Rudy's a very well-known guy, and the Figueron family, they're one of those families here that I think if I had a daughter, well, I do have a daughter, when she's older, if she meets a local boy, if they're a Figueron, I wouldn't be upset, They're a very lovely, honest family, and I saw their father the other day, who's quite old, and he used to ride a horse out here in the early days along the dirt road and along the beach, and I haven't seen him do that for quite some time, but yeah, there was nothing unusual to see Rudy's dad cruising out here on a horse all the way along the dirt road and then along the beach, and
Classic.
The horse would just be here, yeah. So the Figuerons are a very, very well-known family here, and a lovely family.
Yeah, cool. Well, obviously a bit of salt water in the veins as well, which is great to see, and I've been blown away by the performance of the Filipino surfers so far, and it's a great culture here. It's really about this wave, a bit of an epicenter, I guess, as far as the whole region's concerned, as far as surfing goes. And
yep, absolutely. I think they had an advantage because before they were surfing, they were fishing. They knew the ocean intimately. So, I'd have to. Okay, that's our surfer in green. That's Glenn. That's Mr. Figueron that we're talking about. I used to think or have a theory because when I first started going to Indonesia many years ago, there weren't that many Indonesian surfers, but of course they've become fantastic.
Yeah.
But Indonesians went fishing in boats, but you didn't see them in the water a great deal.
Yeah.
These guys picked it up. It's only 20 years, and you've got guys that are on the same level as the Indonesians already, and the Indonesians have been surfing for 30 or 40 years. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly they've caught up. Oh, that's a nice little shack. Quick one, in and out. That's Sasha from Mexico.
Yeah, he's sticking to the lefts, and he's he's peppering away. That's his first proper completed ride. He just needed a 2.01 prior to that, so he's definitely going to move up the leaderboard, banking on his best score, locking in the blue column very shortly.
I'm interested to see what the judges will give that. It's very hard on the judging tower, having judged many events here, it's very hard on the judging tower to actually see the left, so it's hard to tell how deep they are. I mean, that's from a camera angle almost straight that we're looking at now. That's not from the tower camera angle. This is the almost straight one. So he looked fairly deep on that. He must have looked quite deep from the judging tower, although it was a relatively small wave.
Yeah, well, it's just locked in at a 3.10, so a bit of a short barrel.
Yeah.
Not really a thick, throaty wave like we've seen some of those better scores. So enough to move him up into second position. Matt Costa now with priority, the Hawaiian in the white, needs just a 1.10. And it looks like Glenn's keeping busy on the inside with third priority. But so Rudy, so how long have Philippine surfers been surfing for?
Well, I can't answer that exactly because I can tell you how long they've been surfing here. They've been surfing here since about 95.
Okay.
Well, maybe 90, 94.
So the early 90s.
Early 90s here in Siargao.
Yeah.
Now, up in La Union, I know they've been surfing longer, and Catanduanes. So I would say, I mean, there is a history of surfing, but these guys have become the best surfers in the country, or the majority of these best surfers in the country are from here within 20 years.
Okay.
So I can't give you the exact history of the rest of the country,
Yep.
but I know up there in La Union and Bel Air and Catanduanes, they have been surfing for quite some time. And I just mentioned Kevin Davidson earlier. He's a guy that's been here longer than me.
Yeah.
He was in Catanduanes before they discovered here, and then they all shifted down here because not only of Cloud9, but there are many, many other waves around here.
Yeah, okay.
And I've got a friend out there who's probably not happy that I'm even mentioning Katandwanis because, you know, a couple of people head over there when the swell's good, and
Okay.
not quite as crowded as here, but I won't say anything more. Sorry, Larry.
Oh, don't. Well, here goes the
Oh,
Hawaiian.
yeah. Oh, he's not going to sneak out of that one.
It was a nice takeoff, but the wave unfortunately just clamped on the end section. He was travelling through it, and he'll have to dust himself off. He needed just a 1.10, so we'll see what the judges thought of it. I reckon it'll go close to moving him up back into second position, but I'm not a judge, and I won't predict their scores. So
It was a tough takeoff, though, and he did well to slip underneath there. It would have been an epic barrel had it not shut down on him, but that's the would have situation. I have lots of would haves when I surf.
I can imagine. But
Well, I would have got an epic barrel would I have been a better surfer.
and
Bit of a set out the back.
those
Oh.
with priority, doing really well.
Doing very well. Now, I'm interested to know whether they would consider that some kind of interference. It didn't seem to affect his scoring ability. I'm surprised Glenn did that, but...
Well, not much hindrance there, and
What happened? He hit his head on the top of... I don't know, he seemed to be there. I thought he was just going to cruise out of that one.
yeah, me too. But we'll get a couple of replays of that last little exchange. But what I can definitely tell you is the Japanese surfer in red did have first priority, and maybe Glenn Figueron just keeping him a little bit honest there. But we'll probably get a replay of it.
Being a local. He's being a local.
Forgot about the priority system and said...
No,
"Hey,
Glenn's not that kind of guy, I tell you. He's
Okay.
a very chilled character, so maybe he was just confused as to who had priority.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can see the Japanese surfer looking back. It didn't really hinder his scoring potential having Glenn there side by side with him, but the judges might have a different take on that. So with close
The only
to
thing he
5
could have
minutes...
done was possibly faded a little more, but I think if he had faded, he might not have made the barrel. So
No.
I'm kind of with you. I don't really think it hindered his scoring ability, but we'll wait and see.
We'll have a look. So right now, 5 minutes on the clock. Japanese surfer with a 4.83. He's going to lock in another healthy score once it lights up on our screen. But Takumi Nakamura, there's quite a few Japanese surfers in the mix here as well, which is exciting to see. A true international field. I think 20 nations being represented here at the Cloud9 Surfing Cup. And there we go, the best wave of the heat thus far,
Yep.
a 6.67. And I can't see any little red dots or anything on the green column, so...
No, what I'm wondering about Matt Costas, I don't know that he got. Oh, there you go. Oh, he needs a 1 point. No, that just changed because of the other one. Yeah, no, I don't know about that little closeout barrel that he got. I don't know that he got his 1.1.
No, I don't think he did. So right now it remains first red, second is blue. Our surfer from Mexico, Sasha, chasing an 8.4 to go into first position. So again, it's been the tail of this event so far. It's you know, the winner's generally been pretty far out in the lead, and it's been a bit of an arm wrestle for second position.
Yeah, well, anyone can do anything here. I mean, it's nothing to get into second here, a 1.16 or a 3.56, and still with 3 minutes 35 seconds to go. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Well, you can see that white and blue are pretty close to each other. Red's got first priority, and he's probably just going to sit out the back comfortably. Matty Costa having a little look at it inside, or he knows he doesn't need too much at all, so he pretty much just needs to take off.
Yep.
And he'll be...
I think blue will be all over him, that's for sure.
Yep, I'm with you.
I think you'd think with 3 minutes we're going to see another lot of sets and more than one wave, I would hope. So, yeah, fingers crossed for all of them.
And any update on the forecast, Jerry? What's the latest?
The latest is that tomorrow's not meant to be great, and Monday, which we had a great forecast for, is now, it looks like they've postponed the swell, or they've readjusted when they think that next swell's going to come. So they're saying Monday evening now and not Monday daytime.
Okay.
And that's why we're probably definitely going to run 10 to 12 heats today, because we don't want to back ourselves into a corner. I mean, a prediction's a prediction, a wave is a wave, so a bird in the hand kind of thing. And, and I know some of the surfers really want us to wait, but you know, it's a kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't situation. So I think we'll run through to the lower tide today and then just assess it each day. But it's still looking like we're going to have great waves next week.
Oh, well, I always like the option of finishing in great waves. Here goes your heat leader. He's really in sync with the ocean out here. It's his third nice barrel. and wraps a nice little carve back into the mashed potato, as I like to call it. He's going to kick out. So with 2 minutes on the clock, Red comfortably in the lead, but the battle is on for second spot. Here goes Matty Costa using his second priority. Going to turns. That's a nice crack up through the lip.
Oh, another nice one.
Second strong manoeuvre. So he probably wanted to get barreled, but knowing he needed just a 1.16, had to resort to something, and he's going to get back out the back and probably put some pressure on Sasha and Glenn.
I think a lot of pressure. They were two very nice hacks.
Yeah.
And here goes Glenn having a look. Glenn needs something big here.
Oh.
Oh, it didn't come out clean, but it was a very nice barrel, and he hasn't given up.
Did a lot of good work to get into that position. So Glenn Figueron, prior to that wave, needed a 3.56. He found the barrel, so with 1 minute on the clock, some interesting numbers to drop in. The judges will probably check out the replay, but here he is, local surfer in the green. Unfortunately got a little bit clamped on the end section. Wasn't a clean exit, but I think he's really milking it through the inside. Couple of nice little slashing rail manoeuvres there. So, you know, the judges certainly don't rate these inside manoeuvres highly, but when you're trying to extract a 3.56, going to be interesting scores.
I think we're still waiting for Matt Costa's score and now Glenn Figueron's score. So with 32 seconds to go, this is going to be a big shake-up here because they were very different but both very nice waves.
Yeah, well, you know, again, the judges love to compare, contrast and analyse. So there it is, a 3.73 for Matt Costa's last, which it does sort of extend the requirement for Glenn.
Yep.
So with pretty much 10 seconds on the clock, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm wondering had a clean exit maybe got to that score, but we'll see what the judges want to do with that one.
We'll count this one out, however, in 3, 2, 1. We'll be on hold. We'll await some scores as we see Matt Costa. I don't think that wave will count for him, but nervous times. You never want to come in with a couple of threes under the belt, but it may be enough. A 5.77 for Glenn, so just falling short of the requirement.
It's a shame, the local boy. Anyway, I'll head off and we're going to run to a break, are we?
Yeah, I think we're going to go straight to an ad break and we'll be back here at Cloud9 very soon.
All right, now we're back. So here we are. This is Heat 2, Round 2. And as you were saying, mate, our good buddy from Margaret River, Jack Robinson, BOG yesterday. Best on ground. He's out there in the white. He's taken on Carlito, who is a big-time local. He's out there in the green. Naru Awada, not sure about him. He's a Japanese surfer out there in blue. And in the red is Luis Peroro from, would that be Portugal?
Yeah, so a true international flavour to this heat. And, yeah, obviously Lewis and Nauru seeded through, so obviously holding a pretty high seeding coming into the second heat of the round of 96. Day 2 here at the Siargao Cloud9 Surfing Cup, the 24th year that a major surfing event has gone on, and really stoked to be alongside my good mate Mark Clift from West Oz And we're into the pointy end. Still not quite into the prize money round, but with $75,000 up for grabs.
Yep, got to get out of this round.
Got to get out of this round to get some bucks. So an important round, and of course your points and prize money do increase the further and deeper you go into it. So wishing everyone the very best of luck and.
And there's been a lot of good waves break, Juddo. They're out there. As Jerry was saying, we could really do with a bit of offshore, like the stiffer the better almost, because it really opens up and produces that world-famous funnel that we're used to on the right-hander here. Either way, that's not a bad example of it, but you see, if we had the breeze, that would have been a no-brainer there for the Japanese surfer Naru. Either way, compared to some other events you see around the world and stuff we've run and done and all that before in beaches and onshore stuff, this is still looking like a blessing.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure competitors, as we see Jack Robinson up and riding, amazing performance yesterday, grabs the rail, disappears, gets spat out, and kicking off round 2 pretty much the way he finished round 1.
Whew, no fuss effort right there from Jack, barely raised a sweat, and just threads at another amazing tube ride, which he did a lot of good work on his backhand out here yesterday morning. If we flash back to that heat, 6 tubes, I reckon, in his heat yesterday.
At least.
And a big alley-oop. And it was the first time he's ever been here. So he's in the groove, and you can see what we're talking about, a la his very first ride. So we do harp on about him a fair bit, being West Aussies, but you can see the hype is warranted. So we'll continue to do that until the cows come home, I think.
Yep. Hard to not talk up a West Aussie when you got 2 here on the microphone. So apologies if we seem a little bit biased, but with 21 minutes on the clock, we're going to anticipate a healthy score to lock in the white column for Jack Robinson. He's been a phenomenal surfer for many, many years, Mark. You and I have seen him from a little pup all the way through to now really starting to hit his straps, and certainly in waves of consequence. It's exciting to see all these young kids that come through the ranks of your local events and your state titles and whatnot now getting a chance to shine on the international stage.
It certainly is, mate. It's kind of heartwarming because it really, validates and verifies what we do at home with our junior structure and state events leading into Aussie titles, leading up to the next level of Pro Juniors, WQS, and on it goes. So it'd be nice to get someone on the CT, and I'm sure in the not too distant future, we'll have more than just one being Bronte.
Yeah, someone's got to join Bronte, and look at that score locking in.
8.0. Thank you very much, Jack Robinson, right on cue. So that's what we're talking about. We will give anyone those sort of kudos that they get those sort of scores. That was a great way to start. He's on the hunt again, sniffing and taking away. No one else wants. What can he make out of this? Nothing.
Yeah, well, he just wants to keep that momentum rolling, I guess. Starting with an 8 is the perfect way to kick off your heat, and he just seemed in real good rhythm with the ocean, and I think Jack will feel really comfortable here. This wave reminds me a lot of...
Here it is again. So this is what the 8-point ride looks like. It was a nice setup off the bottom to position himself well behind that peak. Nice little backdoor section to thread and finished off a little move. So he goes to the same direction. Blues are nothing. Whites, I'm not sure what happened. We'll have to keep our eye on the scoreboard to see if that was a keeper for Jack. Yeah. Green, who we got? This is Carlito, the big power monger.
Yeah, well, he likes it big and powerful. Stalls for the tube and just gets a little bit crunch there. So nothing to write home about for our surfer in green, local surfer. But I think Jack Robinson would feel really comfortable here. This wave reminds me a lot of Gas Bay at home. A little bit more perfect, perhaps, but another example of a sort of right and left peak that Jack would have grown up surfing. And I don't know, between...
0.77 for Jack's last effort, so nothing much happened there.
No.
And Putra Hermawan was saying that this wave also reminds him of a wave in Lambongan, where he's from, being lacerations.
Okay.
So we're getting a lot of guys making some big calls on some real world-class quality waves. We've had some Lakey Peak calls, some lacerations calls, Gas Bay calls, and rightly so, because this thing does wind off pretty incredibly. So as Jerry was saying, the forecast has changed a little, but it's still looking quite substantial for the back end of our event.
And as we've heard, typhoons are the most difficult weather systems to predict. They sort of change course, they swing back on themselves, they do all sort of little funky, crazy things, and Yeah, we're right in the midst of seeing one play out here at Cloud 9. This is a World Surf League QS 3000 qualifying series event, and it's a great pleasure to be alongside Mark Clift, calling the round of 96. We're into the second heat. Next heat, again, a real international flavour. Elliot, Peretta, Reed.
Hold the phone, mate. Let's just stay with the live action. Jack ducks his head again. This wave's a lot harder to thread. If he comes out of this, it's going to be a Houdini act. So the wave just kind of let him down. He's still trying to keep his rhythm going, though, catching a lot of waves. It worked for him yesterday, so why not?
Yeah, with an 8 under the belt, he knows he just needs to get a solid backup, and then he can sort of sit back and wait patiently for those better waves. But yeah, the 8-point ride, certainly a healthy number. Right now, Surfer in red has a 2.83 and a 0.6. Needs a 5.95 to try and catch Jack in first. And right now, minor scores required from blue and also for green to move up into that second position, held down by our Portuguese surfer, Luis.
All right, so as you were saying, that next heat, mate, let's have a look at it. The Kiwi there, Elliot Perata-Reid, has been involved in all the last 3 QS events in Indonesia. Bit of a standout performer. He really did shine in a lot of those events. A quarterfinal, I think a semi-final appearance. So he's up next, representing New Zealand, for doing it for the locals. Eduardo Alicio, I think they say that. Mitchell James, who won his heat yesterday, and Love Hidell, the Hawaiian, rounding out heat 3 coming up next. So just a 103 for Jack's last effort, still chipping away and steadily increasing that 2-wave total. Surfer in red needs only a 4.61 to go into first. But more importantly, the fella on screen in blue, Naru, the Japanese surfer with first priority. This man now, Carlito, I've seen him surf a lot. He's won this event before when it was perhaps at a different status rating. But he is a big fella. He's an amazing tube rider, and he'll be spewing the wind isn't howling offshore, because if it was, he'd be a major threat in this heat, and still is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a really cool thing, of course, that is happening in the not-too-distant future is the WA Pro Surf Series. So the first time since 2013, Western Australia will have multiple WSL QS 1000 events back-to-back in Mandurah and also in Yellingup. And
starting on what date? Give everyone the info they need.
Yep, the 13th through to the 16th of October, you'll see the Mandurah Pro kick off. It's about an hour south of Perth, and has some pretty cool sort of reefy point options, and the Cape Naturalist Pro will happen in Yellingup on the 18th through to the 21st. So a great opportunity for young West Australians to build some ratings points and also hopefully cash in some prize money. But we're really opening it up to all of the surfers here to come on down to West Oz, check out the amazing waves that the southwest region of WA can offer. And I know that Jack Robinson's entered those events, and
you might scare people off. We'll hold on to that one.
Okay.
What we will say is, how can they enter, and the entries will still be open until when?
We're going to leave them open right up until the last minute. I think there's some cut-off dates as far as holding your seating, so I think we might have just gone past that, but Will Hayden-Smith, the Australia Oceania Tour manager, will probably be able to open that up for a little bit longer. I know we've got some pretty talented surfers making their way to WA already, but if you're interested, head to the competitor page on worldsurfleague.com and make sure you're a member and chuck your entry in, and come down and hang out with myself and Mark in a few weeks' time.
And then look, it also leads into, not long after that, another event in Victoria, which leads into an event, I think, at Port Stephens. Is that right? So for the international competitors, look, if you're going to come all the way to Oz, well, there's 4 good reasons for it. 2 of them are in WA, 1 of them's in Victoria, and 1 in New South Wales. So come and do the tour.
Yeah. Right now, 13 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock. West Aussie Jack Robinson is in the lead, an 8.0, an excellent score on his opener. He's just sort of looking for something to back that up at the moment. Right now, in second spot is the Portuguese surfer in the red, chasing a 4.61 or better. He's got a 4.43 and a 2.83 under the belt. And local surfer Carlito, as we see Jack Robinson sticking to the lefts. He's really handy on his backhand in a tubing situation.
Got it. Yes.
Gets spat out of that thing, goes for the little backhand rotor, And that 1.03 is completely gone. And I really like that wave for Jack. The judges will have a look at the replay of the 8. And here we go again. Just perfect positioning.
That was a much longer tube. So they threw an 8 for the last one. Forget about the fact that he fell on the end. It's all about the tube ride. It was deep. It was straight off the takeoff this time. There was no bottom turn set up like his previous ride. So, well, I think we're going to see another number boost into the excellent range. We've already had 3 scores bust into the excellent range today, mate. So they've only happened today. Yesterday there was a lot of high 7s and some big numbers and some insane conditions. And today, without a stiff offshore, really grooming this place, we've seen the 3 best scores of the whole men's draw thrown out this morning. So it goes to show it's still mighty contestable out there.
Oh my goodness, this is a great location, world class, and I think we're going to see Cloud9 really come into its own over the next few days. But yeah, you cannot complain. There's right tubes, there's left tubes. It sort of, it favours both Goofy and Naturals alike, and really interested to see what score locks in for Jack Robinson with just under 12 minutes on the clock. I'm going to make a brave
prediction, mate. If Jack Robinson wins this heat, being a West Aussie, it's all looking good for the Eagles. Let's have a look at 8.6, Jack Robinson.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Highest score of the event so far in the white column for West Aussie Jack Robinson. So highest combined 2-wave total as well. So
is that an omen?
I don't want to say anything.
Could that be our scoreline?
I'm nervous.
I'd hate to kick 67 points, but 16 goals would be great.
Oh, goodness.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're
here's the 8.67 again, everybody. The best wave this morning. It just eclipses the 8.6 thrown down by Troy Van Vliet, the Maroubra boy. So it's all going on here, back-to-back, almost back-to-back 8-point rides here for Jack. Green and red split the peak. Green is Carlito doing his best work to slow down the big fella. Boom, just chips a little floater there at the end, but that'll be his best wave. Was it enough to move him out of third? I don't think so, but it's going to make the requirement much less, so good work, Carlito.
Yeah, well, it looks like our surfer in red completed that wave. He's sort of right down the end of the left, so we'll get the replay here. That's pretty decent, hefty little section he drove through around a nice roundhouse cutty there. So, and here's the replay of Green's last as well.
And I'd just like to say, great camera work, boys, for the first time, picking up the right and left off the same wave. Thanks to Sammy for queuing up both those replays, mate. The boys from Fresh Air Productions doing an awesome job, a 2-man team that put this whole show together, and it blows me away how good they are and how hard they work to bring everybody that's watching the webcast all the goodies from Cloud9. So that wave from Lewis, is it Lewis?
Yep.
Okay, Lewis in red will improve his situation, but everybody is fighting now for second spot. Shut the gate on the lead with an 8.67 and an 8 JR. Jack Robinson can just cruise through these last 10 minutes and just soak it up, because another great practice run heat here for Jack. He's never surfed here before. We had a chat with him yesterday, 41 hours to get here. Nailed it. And had a great outing yesterday. He's picked up where he left off and looks to be in top form.
Well, definitely racking up the frequent flyer miles. Flew to Portugal, unfortunately exited in the first round there in the QS 10,000. And really relevant now. I think these QS 3000s are certainly in the back end of the year. Here goes Carlito, the local.
Well, he now only needs a 3.68. His last wave was his best. So you can see he's a big guy. He's not that nimble, but he's getting some work done here. He needs a 3.68. More importantly, he'll be hoping to stomp his big frame through some big barrels. He's done about 15 turns on this wave and surfs right off the screen.
See you later.
So a 3.68 might be achievable with that amount of moves. I'm not sure, but he definitely does his best work in the tube. And let's see whether that qualifies for second spot.
Yeah, well, Jack Robinson's got the field comboed right now, so the battle is on for second position, and it's been really unusual how that sort of played out. You know, one surfer has sort of dominated, held on to first position, and the arm wrestle for second has sort of played out over the last few heats.
Carlito moves up, buddy, a 3.7, so by 0.02, I think he just squeaked that score, and he did, just by 0.02. So some solid rail work, lots of moves, and there's such determination there from Carlito. Just the judges went, all right, you've convinced us. We'll give you the nod. Just. So he moves up into second. So now it is time for Lewis, the Portugal surfer, To respond, he needs only a 3.6, and Naru, the Japanese surfer, a 6.6 needed for that all-important second spot. Now, we have thrown the door open for Takumi to come and have a chat. I'm not sure where he is, but we are doing it to everybody, so we'd love to speak to the Japanese surfers. We'd like to speak to everybody that wins heats. If he fronts up, great, you'll have a chat with him. If not, for all our Japanese viewers, we are leaving the door open. He's just perhaps a little camera shy.
Maybe, we'll see. But he had a great performance, looks really nimble and really solid in the barrel. I think he only caught 3 waves, and all of them he parked himself in the tube on the right-hander. So, yeah, if Takumi Nakamura is around, we'll definitely look to talk to him. And again, if not, we'll more than likely have Jack Robinson up here in the hot seat and have a chat with him in around about 10 minutes. There is 7 minutes remaining. We're into the round of 96, round 2, heat 2 of this Cloud 9 Surfing Cup here on the beautiful islands of the Philippines. Again, I've been blown away by the natural beauty of this place and the quality of the waves. Mark, you've been here a few times, and yeah, a world-class location.
Yeah, mate, and you've got a lot more to look forward to. I'm telling you, like when it really fires up, there's just white water everywhere. Every one of these waves in the immediate area, you can see about 10 waves all breaking just from our current position. So once it turns on, it really, really turns on, and it just, you're spoilt for choice of where to surf. And Cloud 9 is still the jewel in the crown, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of other waves that rival it, and you've just got to get on a boat or on your bike and go and have a look around, and you get well rewarded. And the Typhoon is the perfect ingredient. There is one spinning off the coast, so hopefully it lives up to the forecast, and we'll show everybody exactly what this place can do. So here goes Naru now, the Japanese surfer who's been waiting for a long time with priority, and he ends up catching a bit of a dud.
Yeah, so unfortunate there. He's in 4th position. Don't know if he'll improve his situation. Here goes Luis in the red.
Wow, how's that little stand tall? Did he overcook the little pose pulling in?
I think so. I think he had to put the afterburners on if he was going to race through that one. And
stoled his way into a bit of a closeout, but maybe a pump could have been the better option.
Well, he was going for the cover shot and not the score, perhaps. So
he was fairly confident. He looked like he had it nailed until he didn't. Anyway, that will leave, I think, JR with the number 1 priority now, and also the lead. Carlito moves into second. There he is out the back in the green Rashi. And Lewis might be ruining that. He only needed a 3.6. I think he had the wave. It's 9 o'clock here in the Philippines, everybody. 5 minutes to go in this heat. Heat 2 is the round of 96. We did start with 128 yesterday, so it's a big field. 67 heats is what we've got ahead of us to run this year's Cloud 9 International Surfing Cup, and dish out the 3,000 points, the 75 grand US. What big prize pool. And I'm not sure whether Lewis, no, he didn't budge with that. I think he threaded that barrel, he was easily going into second spot.
Yeah, so he's at the back of the pecking order now in 4th priority, needing just a 3.60. So he's already done pretty much that on his 2 scoring waves. And 4 minutes 20 remaining. We'll have a look here. Your heat leader, Jack Robinson, switching it up. What can he do? Goes for a nice little air reverse, lands on the roof and can't land that move.
Thought he was at the River Dog there messing around on the little go-to spot down there in Margaret River in the afternoons. That little section looked pretty similar, minus the seaweed.
Well, Jack and his dad, Trevor, they're pretty handy drone pilots these days. You see Trevor walking around with his little Mavic under his arm, and apparently Jack doesn't even get out of bed. He just flies the drone down to his local spots and has a look.
Nice, I like it. Here we go, blue now. So Naru, he's got to get out of that 4th spot. That ain't going to do it. He's going to chuck down another 1-point-something ride. So for the Japanese surfer, it's really not going to script. He was one of the seeded surfers into this heat. And yet to really fire a shot. He needs a 6.6 to qualify into second, and he's running out of time. 3 and a bit minutes. There's Carlito narrowly by 0.02 ahead of Lewis, the Portuguese surfer in red, who will probably be spewing that he didn't capitalise on his last wave. But he does have second priority. The bad news for him is the guy sitting next to him in second has first priority.
And he's a local. He knows that patch of reef really well.
And he's bigger than Lewis as well. So there's a couple of things not really going Lewis's way at the moment, but he's hoping a two-wave set at least comes through and gives him that opportunity.
Well, I'm going to predict that red will look for the lefts, green will look for the right, so it all might
only need one wave.
Might only need one wave, and here's a bit of a set approaching the lineup. I think that's going to catch everyone out of position. So there's still plenty of life in the ocean here. We are pre the predicted typhoon swell that's going to hit early into next week. Jack Robinson likes what he sees here. No one in position. Swings, goes, stalls.
Wow. Hey, what a read he had on that thing.
My goodness, showing his nous for hollow tubing waves. Grinds out a little turn and tries to stand tall and say, yep, I finished that. But with 2 8-point rides in the belt.
He's going to have the third highest score of this heat as well.
Yep.
But it probably won't improve his two-wave total. But either way, when you're ready, Sammy, if we could see that again, because it was great viewing, we'll just stick with red. So this is important times. He doesn't catch that wave. When we get a break, I'd love to see that last wave of Jacks again. I'm sure all the crew at home and everybody watching on the webcast would as well. It's probably going to end up as a throwaway score, but let's just watch Nauru.
Yeah,
Could be the last roll of the dice for the Japanese surfer there.
Just got swatted, so unfortunately he's had a little bit of a shocker. Maybe wave selection hasn't been as good as he would have hoped. But you can see that red is really hugging those lefts down there.
Maybe now would be a good time to have a look at that replay. If we've got it, access to it, last wave of white.
Just over 1 minute remaining. The Philippine surfer in the green has priority. He is trying to fend off red, who needs just a 3.67. Jack Robinson's got this thing in the bag, and as we said, the battle is on for second position. You can see with under a minute to go, Carlito is just
scratching and trying to stay close to red, who's got himself a wave, ladies and gentlemen. He only needs a 3.6. If he comes out of this, he's got it. He's there. He is. He looks in. He knows he's kind of going to move up the leaderboard. A tube is a tube, and they've generally been rewarded. A smallish wave, but he did come out. He's done some turns. He thinks he's got it. There's 25 seconds to go. Was that a big-time blunder from Carlito?
Well, I'm not sure that Carlito probably goes left too much out here, but the goofy footer, here's the replay.
Nice clean tube. That's the important thing there.
Yeah.
I think right there he got the score.
Yeah. And then just maximised every little bit of scoring opportunity this wave had on offer. So, yeah, there's going to be a change. And I think Red's just making sure the judges know he did
5.1.
Into second position. So,
yes, so that was a real nail-biting finish. Once again, everybody, that is the end of round 2, Heat 2. Jack Robinson and Lewis Perloro move through to the next round. We'll be back with Heat 3 right after this break.
well, we're back. I'm Justin Majax. I'm alongside my good mate Mark Clift, and we've just seen West Australian Jack Robinson dominate another heat, 2 8-point plus rides.
Wow, the two highest. the best wave of the day. The 8 was probably the third best wave or fourth best wave ridden today, but definitely the best 2-wave total. And once again, BOG here this morning on day 2, as he took it out yesterday as probably the person setting the highest pace. Be good to have a chat with him in a minute. Let's hope the Beach Marshal Bonesy sends him down our way. Here goes White, tucking straight into a backhand Baz, maybe. No, that is Mitchell James. He won his heat yesterday to be into this round. He's up against Elliot Prada-Reid. You can see he's surfing in red. He's had a great campaign in our previous WSL events throughout Indonesia. He's up against Eduardo Aloiso, our local, and Hawaiian Love Hadal, who will surf in green. Some solid matchups, mate, as you would expect, moving into this seeded round.
Yeah, well, we've got surfers seeded through to round 3, but yeah, we're starting to see the first lot of seeded surfers appearing here in round number 2, the round of 96. And Mark, what can you tell us about Elliot Prada-Reid?
Well, Al is he's turning into one of my favourite surfers. We just did a 3-event tour through Nias, Simalu and West Sumbawa. He's got nerves of steel. There were times in events he wouldn't have caught away for 10 or 15 minutes. He'd drop right behind and then produce a number, back it straight up and go straight into a first or second, qualifying spot. So nerves of steel. He threw down a big corrupt flip one morning at Simalu. And he also did one at Nias in a free surf I saw. So I knew the one at Simalu was no fluke. He's a power surfer. He's on the Pies-Ls, which he's loving. So there's a lot to like about his strategy, his skill set, and his current form. So that's what I know about him.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's coming to WA for the West Australian Pro Surf Series. He's one name I do recognise in the list of competitors who have entered so far. So going to be excited to see the exciting Kiwi putting the rashie on over in WA.
Mitchell James has been here a bunch of times. He won his heat yesterday, the natural footer. Where did he say he was from yesterday?
He's from Kingscliff.
Yeah,
so
okay, so just
northern part of New South Wales.
Okay, Love Hadal we know from Hawaii. We also remember him from many campaigns at the Margaret River event, particularly surfing the box and doing it quite well. So being a Hawaiian, he's and a bit of a veteran. He's probably doesn't surf too many WQS events, but he comes to this one because he loves the wave. It suits him. And I don't know anything about Eduardo apart from the fact that he's a local, so he's seeded into this round. So there's obvious reasons why, so I can't wait to see him kick off his campaign.
He must have done pretty well at the Philippines national titles a few days ago to be seeded through to this part. Maybe made the semis or the quarters, perhaps.
Yeah, so that last heat, okay, just writing in our results. What do we got, 20 minutes? Be nice to get Jack up here. I'm sure all the crew at home and on the webcast would love to hear from him. He generally lets his surfing do the work. He's not one to blow his own trumpet. It's hard to get some words out of him sometimes, but having both of us worked with him at events over the last 10 years, we finally got him to speak. It took about 5 years, and then we were getting one-worders. Now he's stringing together sentences, and he's growing up a bit more, and it'll be great to have a chat with him.
Yeah, certainly would. He's a great young fella. Again, a highly touted talent from an early age, and now really finding his feet on the qualifying series. You've seen him blow up at waves of consequence all across the world. Tahiti, Pipeline, you know.
Recently, Padang, he won that event, the specialty event in Indonesia, with a high-quality field. Had them all comboed with a 10 and a 9-9. Oh. It was just insane surfing. And we'll be invited back to that event forever and a day with a performance like he put on. Every local was just in his corner after that, mate. If they all knew of him. I don't think they really realised exactly how good he can be live, and he really put on a show and didn't disappoint.
Yeah, made some new Indonesian friends, no doubt. And here we go. Our local surfer in the blue.
Oh, he's got this. He's got this. Yeah.
He likes it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am clapping because that was probably the longest tube I've seen today. So we didn't know much about Eduardo. We do now. We know he's a tube pig, and he threaded that thing perfectly. So
stoked for him.
Sammy, we've got to see that again. So for the broadcast crew, without a doubt, we're going to see. We're going to score to go with that. We'll get the replay, and we'll have a look at it again because that was a damn long tube. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this thing. A smaller wave, yes, but a long tube. Eduardo's pretty pumped. And once again, he just had the perfect line. He didn't have to do much more than just hold it, smile, and claim.
Yeah, you're right. They've put that tower on the perfect position. You can see that camber angle just looking straight into it, and travelled through a couple of really quick sections. And, yep, he's going to take the lead there. So Eduardo, a 5.50 blue. Looks like he's part of the Kudu surf team. So big shout out to James and Marja and the team here. Base themselves. They've got a cool little shop just up the road.
Yep, the greenhouse. Check it out. Go and buy some of their stuff. They've got some really cool gear. They make it all themselves, and they make it out of recycled plastics. So support the environment, get yourself some cool threads, and get down there and see the crew at Kudo Surf. So I guess the size of the wave might have affected Eduardo's score right there. It was a great tube, a 5.5. It was pretty deep, maybe not the deepest we've seen. It definitely had a bit of length about it, but a medium-sized wave in today's conditions, so the judges keeping the score medium.
In check, I think. A little bit of a chandelier exit, but yeah, nice travel time. Didn't get the stop clock on it, but yeah, definitely spent some time behind the curtain and moves directly into first position on the strength of a 5.50. So he'll be happy, and I'm sure you'll hear some hoots and hollers from the locals who are really supportive of their talented surfers here at Cloud9. And with 17 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock, we'll be looking for Jack Robinson.
I can see him heading this way, mate. So for all the crew on the webcast, and particularly for the West Aussies and the Margaret River crew, stay tuned. He's about a minute away from getting the headphones on. And he'll put some shout-outs to the boys at home. He can tell us about that heat. It was pretty epic. Get some input on who he thinks is going to win the GF today.
Well,
Love Hadel.
Here comes Luis as well, and he's... Oh, just gets clipped, so...
Well done, nice comeback. Lewis, we just seen walk past. He got second place. Here's the winner of the heat. We'll just stay with the live action. Mitchell James as well, dropping into a bomb. It's his second ride. Gets up there, tags at one time. All right, so as this heat winds on, let's get old mate on the headphones, young mate on the headphones. Thanks, Juddo.
Yeah, I'll step out. Welcome Jack in.
Still plenty of action going on out the back as well. Lots of waves have just been caught in this heat. Now, here we go. Really quickly, my pleasure to say good morning and well done again to Jack Robinson.
Morning, Mark.
Hey, you're breathing pretty hard, pretty hot out there, eh?
Super hot. I kind of had too much energy. I was catching too many waves in the heat, and kind of had to slow down a little bit. Still fun, you know.
Well, you were telling me yesterday you hadn't surfed here before. You come a long way to be here, and again, you just burst out of the blocks, opened up with an 8. You would have been feeling pretty good after that.
Yeah, no, I was feeling good. I was feeling pretty good this morning, so yeah, waves are fun. Still.
Was it your plan to go left? Your next wave, you went left again for an 8.67.
Yeah, I was thinking the lefts were good. Just I saw more of them before my heat, so whatever comes my way. Yeah, I'm kind of ready. You know?
Fairly casual approach. I like it as always. Now, then you got a nuggety right, and you got well barreled again. What was the score for the right? Did they read it out to you? Because we couldn't tell from here. It didn't pop up on our screen.
I think it was around a 6.
But
the lefts were sort of running a bit more. You could get pretty deep on them, and I was sort of hunting them a little more. But did what I needed to do.
So 2 wins from 2 appearances. Let's watch Mitchell James, who just missed the barrel. You got to be feeling pretty good about how things are going so far.
Yeah, I'm seeing this swell coming. I mean, I'm really glad I came. Like, it's always the best when things happen really quick. You know, there's things pop up and then you get here and everything.
It's a real punchy wave too, isn't it?
Yeah, no, the wave's really good. I like it a lot. So.
I did this yesterday. I'm going to do it again today, mate. I know it's hot out there. Here's some water if you want to have a swig on that. It's up to you. But now, tell us. I know it's a steamy morning. You get a wave, you paddle back out. Do you sit up and just about overheat?
It's pretty much like that. Like you got to keep the water up. You get a headache. Just in a paddle battle or something. Oh, love Hadel.
Love Hadel.
Little nugget. Just after a paddle battle or something, you're overheating. It's that hot. So.
Yeah, you're just about sweating, in the water.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Love Hadel, can you ever remember seeing him pull in at the box?
A long time ago.
A long time ago. You would have been a young pup, but...
Yeah,
that was kind of his move.
With Ross Williams, guys, kind of that era, yeah, like sort of a lot of. Yeah, no, I surfed a lot with him at Sunset and Haleiwa, always in Hawaii.
Here he goes again, folks. So kind of a veteran at this event. I'm not sure of his age, but he'd have a few bit of vintage on his side.
Yeah.
Nice little thread. Yeah. So the opening ceremony yesterday was a fairly long affair, but a good one, and you were a bit of a part of it. So what was your take on that yesterday, mate?
Been here a lot, so yeah, it was good to be a part of. Yeah, it's a good turnout.
And it was really good, some of their speeches, you know. We had the wife or the first lady of the president of the Philippines here, and she gave a really cool speech on environment and looking after the area for the next generation and stuff about plastic in the ocean and all that. So it was really cool what they were saying, and you could really sense through their interviews and their chats, their speeches, just how much it means to them having a big time event like this here in a small place like Siargao.
I know, it's great. Yeah, it's really cool.
Who we got here? This is the local fella. Geez, he threaded one earlier. Yeah, so this is a bigger wave. He got a 5.5 for a longer tube earlier. That was a slightly bigger wave, so I reckon he'll have the two best numbers of this heat once it drops. So we also know Jack Robinson, and we just watched Red here, Elliot Parada-Reed. Wow. He's a good surfer. He just did all the three events we did in Nias and Simaloo and West Sumbawa.
Yeah, no.
3 1000s, mate. We caught some good waves, I've got to tell you.
I know. I've been watching all that. I was elsewhere, but I would have probably done them if I was over that way.
So maybe next year, if there's a break in the calendar and you see Nias pop up on the radar,
for sure,
you'd be tempted to front up.
Yeah, definitely. I'll do a little strike over there for it if I'm in the region.
So here goes Elliot now. So he did a lot of this in recent times throughout last 3 event series. Puts it on rail. Good surfer. He's been here before. He knows how to surf this way pretty well.
Yeah, I've known Elliot for a long time. Used to surf against him in the King of the Groms about 7 years ago. Yeah.
And the action replay of Eduardo's last ride as well. So we'll get some scores to go with those rides shortly and work out exactly who's who in this heat. And while we're waiting for those scores, Jack, we know it's a big day in Australia, mate. It's grand final day. Gaze into your crystal ball. What do you see as the outcome, mate?
I know. I have to go and watch that one. Yeah, up the west all the way. Yeah, that's what I'm calling.
When you're on the road throughout a year, do you follow it?
Yeah, no, I follow it. I know some of the boys, follow them through Instagram and Nat Nui and all these guys. So I keep an eye on it. Whatever they're doing, I'm always checking it out.
Well, Eduardo did get another similar number, mate, a 5.87, a slightly bigger wave. So great effort there from the Filipino surfer. So we'll get back to that in a moment. Live action is Love Hadel dropping into his second wave now. Takes the right line. Jeez, he's got a good thread on this thing. Come out, son. Yes.
That was a screamer.
I reckon wave of the event, mate. Tube of the day, wave of the event. We're going to see a big number.
That's a good heat.
There's Mitchell James. So, I know you've got together some 8s. What about that? You reckon we're going into 9s with that last wave of Hadel's?
Yeah, that wave was...
We could be going into high 9s.
Yeah, wave was really, really good.
Here it is again, everybody. Check this out. We were talking up his act at the box earlier, how he's just imprinted himself on our memory from his performances in Margaret River. He's brought his act in his A-grade game. You can see how pumped he is. I reckon we're going to see the biggest number of the event dropped. Would you be with me on that call? You've got it so far. You've got an 8.67.
I'm calling. I reckon he threaded it as good as you could do.
So the other guys are out there waving. There's Elliot waving to us. G'day, Al. So I reckon Love was sitting in 4th. He needed a 2.05 to go to 2nd. I reckon he's going to go 9.23. Thank you very much, judges.
There we go.
Love Hadel. A great score for a really sick wave, everybody. So I've been writing down all our numbers today so we can scan back later on and go through them again. A 9.23 is the best of them.
Yeah.
So a great performance from yourself, Jack. I'm sure. What do you do for the rest of the day? Have you got over your jet lag yet? Are you?
Almost. I'm just resting, basically. Just.
Going to go watch the grand final?
Yeah, I'll go and watch the grand final and see what that.
Do you have it on at your place? Do they have the ABC network? Have you had a look?
I'm not sure, but I think at one of the other little bars down the road, they're going to have it on the screen. So
there's one right here. It's called the Offshore Bar. It's owned by a West Aussie, Reese.
There we go, yeah.
That's where I'll be. It's only about 80 metres walk from here, mate. So as soon as I down the headphones, I'll be
Yeah.
there with my West Coast jersey on.
Yeah, no, I can't wait.
So any last shout-outs? All the crew at home, mate. I'm sure there's plenty of people watching and plenty of boys from Margaret River in your camp supporting you. What would you like to say to the crew at home?
Yeah, no, big hello to all the boys at home. I know there's a lot of crew watching.
So
Pops is
far, so
here.
good?
Yeah, no, everyone's here. Mrs. Julia, she's watching. Yeah, no. All the crew's here. I'm staying with all the Hawaiian boys actually over here as well. Shade and Bakara, all Kaimana, Akias.
So that's a big part of the your year coming up next, moving over from there to the islands, and a great preparation so far for you.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm just glad to be in a nice place, good waves.
Warm water,
That's
beautiful
right.
setting
Yeah.
with a wave like this, and the forecast to look forward to, moving through to round 3. You've got some fun times ahead this week, buddy.
Yeah, no, it's great. I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be a good show with whatever goes down.
All right, well, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for your insight. Thanks for having a chat with us again,
Thanks,
Jack
Mark.
Robinson, and all the best for round 3 and beyond, buddy.
Thank you.
Cheers,
See you
everyone.
soon.
Thanks, mate. We'll bring Justin back in, if you could grab him for me, and we'll go through the back end of heat number 3. Did you see Love Hadel's wave? Justin Major.
I missed it, sorry, Mark, but obviously looking at that scoreline of 9.23.
Maybe we can see it again, Sammy. We got the access to show the best wave of the day again. Here it is. So, Juddo, check out this thread, mate. It was perfect.
Oh, nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's still room for improvement. The boys know that. With the swell on the way, we're going to see 10s. It's a matter of what day. Love's got as close as we've seen over the whole event.
Oh.
And he had that thing the whole way, mate.
That was sick.
That was really, really cool. So, advantage, surfer in green. Elliot Parada-Reid in second. His old man Jamal. G'day, mate. Your boy's got a 7.67 of his own and a pretty decent backup number to put the squeeze on the Eduardo, the local. He needs almost a 6 to get out of trouble here. And Mitchell James, well, an 8.34 needs his best work in the next 6.5 minutes to stay in this event.
Wow, that was sensational. You could just see the speed that Love was travelling through that wave, the sections that were coming down in front of him. He was always going to make it out, wasn't he?
And, you know, we were saying this as well. Someone like Love, who would not be chasing WQS points, he's probably just doing it for the love of the wave in the area, and he gets rewarded by something like this. Here it is again, everybody. So we're going on about it, but check it out. That is the wave of the event so far. If you got a tube like that in your day, in your week, in your month, it would be the highlight of your month.
Oh, goodness.
Well done, Love Hadel. He'll take that one home with him in the memory banks.
Well, probably one of our most senior surfers in the draw.
Yep. And he won't mind us saying that. He's a realistically cool fella, and from Hawaii, he's quite mellow, and he won't harp on too much about that. You might get to have a chat with him, mate, if he wins the heat.
There we go. Like to find out a little bit about him. Maybe dig deep into his memory bank and find out some of his fond memories of Margaret River and his time charging over at the box. But
got to ask him, is that the best wave he's had here?
Goodness, well, it's the best wave of the event so far. So
it's got to be up there in his top memories of this place. So let's see where that sits. More importantly, we're down to 5 and a bit. With priority is Elliot Parada-Reid. He sits out the back. Under priority is the local Eduardo. What has he spotted?
Bit of a dud.
Something but nothing. Out he goes. So Elliot's got priority. He needs to burn off a 4.17. That fellow we just saw in blue needs about a 6 to get out of trouble, and that was not it. Mitchell James with third priority will be hoping the other two guys out there in the red and the green get a wave and leave him with that top priority and the opportunity to track down a fresh requirement, which is now an 8.34. Well, it's a big requirement anyway. I don't think it's a fresh one, but that's what he needs. They'll all know that. The beach announcer on the tower will be giving the boys the constant updates. Here goes a little thread again from blue. So Eduardo, he knows the waves that do it. He's got the right line. It wasn't a very big wave, or it didn't start out the back. So here goes Elliot. He knows what it takes to get some big numbers.
Wow, that was a great turn. Maintains his speed down the line. He is in second position, chasing a 4.90 to move up into first. Don't know that's going to be enough, unfortunately.
Well, or improve on a 4.17 to fend off the other two.
Yep.
And consolidate that second spot. So There's not much in it to get to first place for Elliott. There was one big hit. There was no barrel. Here it is again. So boom. So that was a nice attack. It was kind of a bit of risk thrown into that move, and then just a couple little mini squeaky moves to round it out. So probably not going to move into first, but a well-ridden wave nonetheless.
Yep, just approaching the 3.5 minute mark. We're into the round 2 heats here at Cloud 9, and it's been a sensational morning. Some really good high-scoring heats.
Well, he does move to first. He gets a 5.
Wow, good stuff.
So squeaks it in. He is now 0.13 ahead of Love Hurdell, who now needs to upgrade a 3.33 or get a 3.44 to go back into first. So there's not much in it. I think 0.11 ahead now is Elliott.
Yep.
So just narrowly. The judges liked the commitment on the first move. I guess it was pretty high risk on a big sucky wave. So a couple of moves after it might have been what got him home, but the big hit, he would have got most of his points off that.
Makes the requirement a bit more tricky for our surfers in blue and white. A 6.7 now required by
the local
Eduardo, and a 9.07 required by Mitchell James, who just wants to probably channel a little bit of that energy that he had out in his opening round heat yesterday. But with 2.5 minutes on the clock,
he's got second priority. Love sitting there. He's the biggest. You know, he's got his neck on the chopping block here. He'll realise, being well versed in the priority situation and competing, he's going to not let White get a wave. He's got just over 2 minutes to either play defence or try and improve. He'll be looking at the win, actually. A 3.44 for Love is highly achievable to go back to first. It's really, really close. There's not much in it. Even Eduardo in third is only just over 1 point out of second spot. So he needs a 6.7. And looking at what he's done, if he gets the right wave, he definitely knows how to make a barrel out here. So we'll just watch this. The boys are on the hunt right now, so there's obviously something coming. White's going to make green either pull the trigger on priority here. Yep, okay, so Love passes it up. He gives Mitchell James the opportunity. Is it the right wave? There's a tube there. He stands tall. He needs a 9.07. His best wave. He's really done a great job on this thing. He's thrown everything at it, hammer and tong. Is it the last wave we see Mitchell James ride in this event? He looks to the judges and says, please. It was a good tube.
Yep.
There's some really good rail work. He needed a 9.07. I'm not sure. Blue just missed a nuggety barrel.
He's stalling, looking for a little bit of a dip on the end section, but with a minute to go, you know that Mitch James is going to get an opportunity to get back out the back. Whether a wave will come in time, it'll be an interesting score.
And you know what I reckon, Eduardo will look back at that replay and go, why the hell didn't I pull in? That thing was going top to bottom. We're probably going to see the replay of those two rides. Mitchell needs a big score. So here is Mitch's wave, everybody. It's not. I don't think he's going to get a 9.07 out of this. It's going to be a good number either way because it's a solid tube, stands tall at the end of it, strings together about 3 or 4 pretty quality moves here. He might move up a space. I don't think he'll go to second. He might have enough time to get out there and now chase a much lower number.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Elliott's in the lead. Throws it down, throws the fins out, spins it around comfortably. Does he improve on a 5? I'm not sure. It's a nail bite. If he's look at this thing for blue now, he will look at this and go, why didn't I just knife it?
Oh.
It was there. He had the wave. He then tried to stall at the wrong time. And, oh, my God, Eduardo, I think, will realise he had a golden opportunity, Juddo. And I don't want to be too harsh on him, but looking at the replay, he had his chance. He didn't take it and will probably remain in third. We're going to go to a break. Mitchell James gets a 6.6. His best score remains in 4th. So congrats to Elliott and Love. Over and out from Heat 3. We'll be back with Heat 4 shortly.
to live action, just looking at day one highlights, and Cloud 9, a phenomenal location for this World Surf League qualifying series, QS 3000, and yesterday really turned it on, a great way to kick off the event. And we had a big opening ceremony, a lot of officials and dignitaries from the government. The First Lady of the Philippines was here representing the President, and to the action that we've missed out in the water, looks like someone snapped a board. I can see a board floating in the lineup, heading into the lagoon. But
could be the second snap of the event, if that's the case.
But Joe Van Dyke, the very talented young surfer from Phillip Island, has opened with a 5.33 minor scores in the other columns. So we'll keep you posted. We've got Ryan Slattery from New South Wales out there. Kaiki Yamanaka from Japan. Samson Coulter and Joe Van Dyke. So 3 Aussies taking on
Japanese surfer.
Whoa, and
who was that?
That is the wipeout of the event. That was White. That was Samson Coulter.
Can we see that again, please? Sammy?
Thought he was back in the Breath movie, going over the falls
He's
down.
going to be holding his breath. Can we have a look again, Sam? I kind of just caught that out of the corner of my eye. Samson Coulter.
I don't think they've got crayfish here in the Philippines, but spotted something on the reef.
If they did, he'd have 2 of them, I reckon. That was a solid belting. Here it is again. Watch this, everybody. Whoa, the young fella. What is he, 17 or something? And he's, well, that was pretty sick. 19, I think.
He's just checking the equipment, making sure it survived, but that was
a good glass job.
Oh, that was the wipeout of the event for mine so far. It's a challenging wave, but you've got to be in and under the lip. So he had the right idea, but
not in the lip.
Under the lip.
Old mate got belted. Samson Coulter. Izzy spoke well yesterday. He was good fun. So he was telling us about his movie and his aspirations and what he's up to. And so he's pretty keen to chase this QS thing, and being probably one of the younger guys in the field. Yeah, it's a long way, but good luck. He's going to have to do a little better than that last effort.
Yeah, well, he surfed a really smart heat yesterday. I think his high score was a 6.83, so he's certainly got the ability, just has to find the right wave. And right now, Joe Van Dyke open with a 5.33. He leads the field with just minor scores in for blue, red and white at this stage.
And at some point, hopefully in the not too distant future, we're going to get Elliot Parada-Reed up here to have a chat with you, mate. His old man Jamal would have been watching that performance. He'll be pretty stoked. And his old man did the rounds with us throughout those 3 events, Justin. I can tell you, he does like a beer.
That's all right. We won't hold that against him.
No. He's good fun. So his old man did the rounds with him, and they had a great outing. So Elliot, it'd be good to get some thoughts on. He's been here a bunch of times, so ask him how many times and what's his best memories of this place, because
Okay.
I'm sure he's got some good ones.
Well, it's good to see some Kiwis in the mix. Looking through the draw, Keahu Butler, he was crowned the Australasian Pro Junior Champion.
Well,
he's a
we
guy
got
that's
told last night he's got a new nickname.
Chief.
The Chief.
Chief Butler.
He'll be coming up next against the Ranger, another New Zealand surfer, isn't it?
No.
No, who's he up against? Sandon Whitaker, that's right.
Yeah.
The Ranger up against the Chief. What heat's that?
That's heat 6. Nick Vasicek from the Gold Coast, a really amazing goofy footer. And
anyway, that's a way off.
that is a way off. We won't talk that up too
We're at
much.
heat 4 now, everybody. So Joe Van Dyke will be pretty stoked with the way he started. Apart from that, not much else has gone on. So what we might do really quickly, while it looks like there's a break, Sammy, maybe we can bring up the highlights of yesterday, because I think we've got just over a 1-minute package. It looked insane for the people that didn't log on yesterday and check out what happened. Stick around, because I think while there is a break, we might be able to bring you that. There's some pretty incredible surfing going on. Here it is.
Well, there we go. Some highlights from yesterday's action. A really exciting opening round of competition here at Cloud 9 in the Philippines. We're on Siargao, and my goodness, it's been a non-stop exciting event thus far. We're into round 2, and there has been some great performances in the round of 96. Jack Robinson, an 8.67 and an 8.0. Australian Troy Van Villet, an 8.6, but Love Hodel, the Hawaiian, a 9.23, the best that we've seen so far in the event.
We're going to try and get him. We're going to try and get a specialty call out. So as soon as we see him walking around, we're going to get him up here, show him his wave, and get him to talk us through it. So we know he's a character, and he's one of the veterans of the event, and he's schooling everyone out here with a ride like that. So it'll be great fun to have a bit of banter with Love, and we'll endeavour to do that. But the highlight package just then, that looked unreal, so thanks to the Fresh Air boys. Here goes Joe.
He's leading the heat, and I'm sure all 4 of these surfers in this heat would be hoping for something like Love just wrangled in that last heat. That was a thick, solid wave, and it offered a deep, deep tube that he threaded perfectly, a 9.23, so tickling the upper end of the excellent range. So
well, I was sitting here, it was pretty classic, sitting here with Jack, who had an 8.67, the previous best wave of the event, and Jack's seeing it, and we're like, oh, he's coming out of this, Yes, I said, Jack, you reckon that's better than any wave you rode today? He's like, yep. I reckon he's got it. I said, do you reckon he goes into the 9s? He's like, yep. So thanks to the judges, thanks to Love for producing that right on cue, and you can see the quality of the waves we have here for day 2, everybody. We've had 5 waves now that have busted into the excellent range, and they've the only 5 that have gone into the excellent range over the last 2 days. So today's surf is absolutely firing.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here, and I'll take the opportunity to thank a few of our major partners, the Department of Tourism, the catch cry, it's more fun surfing in the Philippines, and so far I think there has been some really fun heats going on. There's over 7,600 islands in the Philippines, so there's endless options to try and find the perfect wave. Okay. Also like to thank, well, it looks like the boys are maybe making their way on up here.
Yeah, I can see Elliot heading this way, so we'll be shortly having a chat with him. So Jamal and all the other Kiwis out there online, stick around. We're going to hear from your boy. Let's watch Blue drop into a bomb.
Yeah, this is the Japanese surfer. Can't quite get a clear read on that one. Kicks out. It is going to improve his situation in second position. Here goes Joe Van Dyke, keeping busy. The heat leader pulls up underneath this thing, travelling.
Yeah, just like Express Point. Phillip Island.
Wham, nice rebound there for Joe Van Dyke. So the 1.3 is gone. This is Samson Coulter.
He's got this as well, folks. Oh, you grommet. What went wrong?
Dull. He did all the hard work and just couldn't get a good line through the exit. Just got a little bit clipped. So here we go. Here's the replay of Joe Van Dyke's last wave. Nice little tuck up, travelled through. But this is what I really like. This rebound gets high and rebounds really nicely off that section. And Samson Coulter did all the hard work and just got clipped there. G'day, brother. Well, I'm joined in the commentary position by Elliot Parada Reid. Sorry, mate. Great heat, and stoked to make it through your first heat here at Cloud 9.
Yeah, it's always good to get the feet in the wax and shake off that first heat. I didn't feel like I surfed that good, but I just feel like I surfed like a smart heat. Yeah, like I just had a 7 and the other guys kind of only had 3s, and then I had priority, so I knew just to kind of wait and bid in my 4. And then I know I saw Love get a sick one, and I was like frothing, paddling over it, and then I'm like, oh, he's in my heat, damn.
Well, mate, you did enough. For a guy to get a 9.23 in a heat and for you to still beat him must be pretty good. Mark, my fellow commentators, singing your praises. You've done the little Indonesian leg of events, and you seeded through to the round of 96 here. That first heat's always a bit of a hoodoo heat. To get that one out of the way is always good.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the waves are like this, it's like there's a couple really sick ones, but then there's like a lot of like average ones and chandelier ones. So it's like some guys just can kind of get lucky and get like the sick ones. Obviously, Love got like a mental one, but yeah, it's kind of when it's more perfect and they're easier to pick. It's kind of feel a bit more safe because you can wait and actually pick the ones you want. Where now it's like you could let one go and it could end up being like a sick one, or you could go one and it ends up being average. So.
Now, mate, tell us, where are you from? You hail from New Zealand, but what part?
Piha, like west coast of Auckland.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's nothing really like this.
I know a few Kiwi surfers. Matt Hewitt's a guy that I know.
Yeah,
Is he from
Matty.
that part?
He's from like the other coast, but it's only like 3 hours away.
Okay.
Yeah, hang out with Matty a little bit.
And it's really good to see so many Kiwi surfers in the mix as we look at this way from Ryan Slattery. This is a proper one. Nice barrel on the takeoff. Racing. Yep.
Yes.
And sticks the rotor. So, yeah, well done. Ryan Slattery waited a long time. He just had a 0.5. He's going to move straight into second place. Just needed a 1.7. That was a great combination of tube ride and manoeuvres. But I was saying, Elliot, that a lot of really talented Kiwi surfers coming out of the mix at the moment. What's going on back home?
Yeah, Rick just got a 9th in the Prime, so that should jump him up. He should be like almost qualifying now, so that would be sick to see him back on tour. And Kehu, who's here, he just won the Australasian Junior Series, so yeah, the talent's going pretty well over there. It's good to see.
And, mate, I saw your name in the mix for the upcoming WA Pro Surf Series. You been to West Oz before?
No, I've never been, so pretty excited.
There you
I hope
go.
I don't get attacked by a shark, but yeah, pretty excited to surf some of those waves.
No, there's none of those things back home, mate. I've still got 2 legs, 2 arms, so
Yeah.
you'll be right. And who are you travelling with? Who's in your little sort of posse or your entourage?
Yeah, I've been travelling with Sheldon Simkis. I did the 3 Indo contest with him and come here with him and going to WA with him, so we've got a little good thing going.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess you've probably got some family and friends that are tuning in back at home. Anyone you want to do a shout out to or say g'day to?
Yeah, Mum and Dad. I don't know if they're watching. They probably are. My girlfriend, Cal, maybe her parents, and my coach, or my trainer, Woody. He's probably watching. He's been helping me out a lot. So yeah, shout outs.
Nice, mate. Well, thanks for stopping in, and we look forward to seeing you in the round of 64, which might happen in a couple of days' time. Tomorrow's forecast doesn't look great, but this little typhoon out to the northeast of us.
Good, so I hope they kind of hold off and it's pumping.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, and good luck for the rest of the event, mate.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers.
Well, that was previous heat winner Elliot Parada-Reid from New Zealand. He's done really well to take the win in his first heat against a red-hot Love Hodel, who posted a 9.23. Last score for Ryan Slattery in the red was a 6.43, Ryan, so he's moved up into second position. Joe Van Dyke locked in a 6.17 on his previous wave to extend on first position. The requirements now for Blue, a 5.84 required for the Japanese surfer to go up into second. And Samson Coulter, if he'd come out of that tube, he probably wouldn't be in fourth position, but he needs a 5.44 or better. So, great young fella, Elliot. He seems full of energy, pretty pumped.
There's his travelling partner, Sheldon, just cruising past. So, good team effort. The boys are supporting each other. We'd love to get Love Hodel in here. That's the word. Where is he? Somebody track him down. Wave of the day, a 9.23. We want him to see it, and we want to have a chat with him. So anybody out there that's listening in and knows where he is, we've put some calls out via the WhatsApp message. He goes, Joe Van Dyke, meanwhile, another little close out, trying to burn off a 5.33.
Yes, well, Joe Van Dyke hails from Phillip Island. His sister is a current WSL Women's World Championship Tour competitor, and I'm sure you'll see Joe flying the flag on his local beaches when the Phillip Island Pro kicks off in early November. As we've said before, the WA Pro Surf Series is coming to West Oz, our hometown, and really excited to do back-to-back events there. A little Aussie leg of events that rolls from WA down to Phillip Island and then up to Port Stephens. So if you're a surfer chasing some points 4,000 good reasons to head to Australia after this event. Here goes Samson Coulter. That's a better line through that one. He's coming out, so little wrapping turn. Needed a 5.44. Not sure if he's got a bit of board damage, maybe. No, I think he's just making his way to the channel. And previous to that, he had a 1.5 and a 0.23. And I think he's going to go pretty close to the requirement.
Oh, Red, come on down. Yes, get under that thing. Bummer. Wow, right.